Near a military base in Germany, the action comes after a series of tests indicated no cause for concern.
Earlier this week, guards discovered a hole in an interior fence at a military site by Cologne Airport, close to the base's drinking water facilities. Their analysis did show some abnormalities. It comes as there's heightened concerns in Europe about potential acts of sabotage, with suspicion often falling on Russia, but no one's been detained in this latest case.
The BBC's Jessica Parker. India announcing three-phased assembly elections in disputed Kashmir will start September 18th. The first balloting since Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government in 2019 stripped the Muslim-majority region of its semi-autonomy. Townhall.com. Virginia's governor launching a new First-in-the-Nation program. It requires multiple state agencies to collaborate to help ex-inmates re-enter society and permanently stay out of jail.
In a smaller test of the plan, thousands of returning citizens obtained jobs and health insurance, with a drop in recidivism for the first time in 12 years. Governor Glenn Youngkin says 6 positive factors help re-entry to succeed.
A job, secure housing, health care, partnership, which we might call supervision, we might call mentorship, we might call accountability, we might call relationship, and mental health and substance abuse treatment.
Partners include faith communities. Anne-Marie Morgan reporting.
3 days after escaping while being taken to a hospital, a North Carolina prisoner who was serving a life sentence for murder recaptured early this morning. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio. Yeah.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy, I'm about to say it. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to it.
Yes.
You know what? It just dawned on me this morning. This is the final football-free Friday.
That's right.
This time next week, high school football game will be Friday night under the lights. All that's kicking off. So tonight, for some families, your last Friday night of, hey, if we're going to go do things other than football, this is the last Friday to do that.
Go get yourself a malted down at the corner shop.
That's right. Go catch a flick.
Take your best girl out.
Yeah.
This is it.
Absolutely. Or also tonight is the night for you couch potatoes out there.
Couch bananas out there.
There you go. Savannah Bananas debut on national television tonight on True TV. Now you're going to have to get home early, folks in New Mexico.
Have they made sure that the Impractical Jokers are okay with being off TV
That's what I was saying. For a 2-hour window, there will be no Impractical Jokers.
Has anybody checked on Sal Volcano, make sure he's okay?
And to be honest, I think they're slowly phasing Joker stuff off of True TV.
Really?
Because now the new Jokers is not on True TV anymore.
That's right.
It's on TBS.
It's on TBS now.
However, yes, you still turn on True TV almost 80% of the time. and there's a marathon of Impractical Jokers. When it's not that, then they're usually showing some movie from the 90s or early 2000s.
You bring up a point, because now that they're going to TBS, I've actually started seeing their commercial, the commercial for the new episodes.
Yeah.
It kind of makes me mad.
Why is that?
Because in the middle of the commercial, in the middle of the whatever they're doing, this woman is like, am I on TV?
No.
Are they going to come out and reveal themselves pretty soon? And Sal, just sitting behind a counter, goes,
Yeah, sometimes they do, though. They break the fourth wall.
Like, I mean, that feels... Because I already have a hard time, like a suspension of disbelief with that show, because everybody knows who they are.
I'm about to say, now we're at a point where it's very, very hard for them to do their shtick without someone catching wind. Like, those are Practical Jokers.
Like, I can't even imagine what it's like for Sal Vulcano to try to do, like, real life stuff.
Yeah.
Like, go pay his, like, insurance or something. As soon as he walks into a building, everybody's got to be on, like, alert mode. Where are the cameras?
Well,
I'm just here to get a haircut.
Speaking of Sal, it was funny you mentioned that, because I happened to one day over the weekend stop, and I was, all right, nothing on. I'll watch some Practical Jokers for a minute. So I watched an episode, and it was the episode where Sal is the person getting punished, but at that moment, he doesn't realize he's getting punished. They do that a few times.
Sure.
But this particular one was one where they just randomly set up things that really freak him out or annoy him. And so, like, they set up like they're just doing one of their normal bits where they're out in the street and they're going to go ask people whatever they're going to do. And so they're setting it up like that. But every time they're doing that intro shtick where the four of them, and this is because it was still Joe at this time, was sitting there, and they kind of do the intro part where it's like, today we're at blah, 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 and the four of them usually lined up and they all say a line. So they're filming that part of it. And so they show them, and so Sal's like, today we're in Central Park, we're going to be, or wherever they're at, and we're going to be asking people. And then the three guys go, well, and they're like, what? You notice that big bungee jumping thing back there? And he goes, oh, no, that's not for me. He goes, and they're getting him all thinking, no, come on, is that a punishment? And he's like, and they go, no, we're just kidding. That just happens to be there. And he's like, really? And so, oh, okay. All right, take two. Hey, we're at, and then he goes, and then they go, well, and then notice that cat adoption thing over here? Notice those construction workers randomly just putting in cement in that one spot over there. And so Sal goes up to him, and they're all like, hey, Sal, come on over, and all this. And he goes, all right, this is my punishment, right? He goes, no, we just thought we're fans of the show. We said, hey, Sal. So they really mess with him.
Just getting paranoid.
Yeah. So it kind of gets to that moment where you said, where like he's actually, and it's
that's almost worse. Fans. You're like, just do it already.
But they literally thinking it's just really, and they set up as just fans like, oh no, we love you, Sal. It's kind of funny. But they have to do that. I noticed if you watch newer seasons, that does happen sometimes because some people maybe not click. And then halfway through it, like, oh, is this woman pregnant?
Right.
You know,
it's like
and then they just say, yeah.
I made this reference after there was a show. And I don't think it's still on. It might still be on. If it is, I'll be astonished. There was a show for a long time I think it was called 60 Days In.
Oh yeah, I think they still do seasons that every once in a while.
I said at the time, that's a show that can really only run one season well, like successfully.
They ran it about 18 seasons.
Which blows me away because there is nothing to do in jail except for watch TV. So they were watching. People in jails were watching this show.
Well, and if you watch later seasons of 60 Days In, because I was a bit of a mark for that show. I do like, you put people in prison, I'm watching.
Right.
But anyway, you could kind of like in some of the later seasons, this guy's 60 Days In, man.
That's what I'm saying.
A couple of people were like trying to sniff out some of the people, and they had to pull them out when people started getting wise to some of that. Yeah.
Like you're really running a risk of getting shanked with a shiv or shivved with a shank.
But then they also did like one season, and it worked, was all of the participants were ex-cons. Like every single one of them were ex-cons.
Okay. So they
all reformed and were doing well now, but they were all, institutionalized at some point or another. They all knew jail life,
the lay of the land,
and so that one got a little better because those folks were more. They just knew the system. They could have stories that that seemed plausible.
I did.
You know what I mean?
I did think that one season with Steve Buscemi where we walked in and said, hello, fellow inmates. I thought that was a little bit telling.
A little bit much.
Yeah. How do you do, fellow inmates?
And then I think that'd have been okay till Ernest came in and said, "Hey, I'm here in jail too. Know what I mean, man?
I've been locked up in the clinic for many years. Know what I mean, Burn?" Somebody just writes Vern in blood across his chest.
And then people were like really out when Les Stroud walked in. And I was like, I'm here to tell people how to survive in prison.
Problem is, he had to run in, set up his camera first, then run back out for the opening shot.
That's right.
Ship, just immediately.
How did a Canadian guy get thrown in it?
I do love the idea of him peeing on a piece of plastic and making his own water whilst also carving a shank out of a toothbrush.
And this is why...
Today I'm going to show you how to sharpen your toothbrush on a windowsill.
That's right. And this is why
if they didn't want you to do this, they wouldn't make a metal.
That's right. And this is why Les Stroud is the king over Bear Grylls.
Bear Grylls,
Any of these Bear Grylls fans, no. He holds Les Stroud jockey shorts.
Right.
Les Stroud is the survivor
He's
man.
the survivor man because he didn't take a camera crew out.
He's not going to IHOP after
craft
running around in
services.
the woods for a little bit. Yeah, no. Yeah, that man there, and he left him alone for a week, and
That was the most apt title ever. Survivor Man. He's a man who survives.
They need a cool logo. I like that guy thing.
Yeah.
And now it turns into pretty much every Burning Man logo ever.
That era of TV though. There was like a very specific like style of TV show. Survivor Man was like it, but the other show that was exactly like that. Oh, Manhunter. That's what it was called.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
With the dude, he was like the best tracker and trapper ever. And they would just like send somebody out for
in the woods. It was really Running
like
Man.
30 miles.
Except they didn't do the killing and all that.
He was so good. He'd like get down on the ground and be like, someone was here recently.
I feel like that was a History Channel show.
Yeah, it was like History or Discovery or one of those.
I liked that show.
I loved that show.
You know what other show they need to bring back? Jousting. They had a whole reality show about guys wanting to be jousters.
I remember that. Yep.
And it was literally like any of these other reality shows. They had the house. They all live in their jousters, and they had to joust their way to the winning. It was awesome. Yeah. And it wasn't even like Maryland jousting where they got to go through the hook. No. This is Knight's Tale. Where they're punching in each other's chest. Yeah.
Dude, Knight's Tale really messed me up on the idea of jousting. I'm like, they just have exploding clay fists at the end of their joust pulls.
Anyway, my whole point of this is Savannah Bananas are on True TV tonight.
Hey, is that a path? Let's go down that. See where it goes.
Now, I did extensive digging. Well, extensive by meaning 20 minutes.
Sure.
And
that's thorough.
That is thorough.
You're in radio.
So if you are not familiar with True TV, it is, like I said, it's the channel that Impractical Jokers is on pretty much 24/7. But if you have Dish Network, it's on channel 242. If it's on DirecTV, it's 246.
Okay.
If you have the AT&T Uverse, channel 164. And I scoured for cable, folks. I could not find True TV on cable. I could not find a cable lineup.
All right, so if you're a
here.
Sparklight user and you know the channel that True TV is on, or you can find out, let us know.
I scoured the internet, looked, could not find it. So I apologize. I do not have it on there.
Well, that's terrible.
I'm assuming it's on there, though. It's as big as channel as TBS or TNT or USA Network or any other.
Yeah, but who knows what kind of contract disputes could keep who from what.
That's right. I haven't had CW on my satellite for almost 2 years now. So.
And how have you been coping? You doing okay?
Good news is they show Big Bang Theory on 37 other channels.
There you
I didn't
go.
miss it too much.
There you go.
And I was never a big fan of those teeny bopper drama shows they show on CW every night.
But what are you going to do when NXT goes over to CW? Then where are you going?
Then
how
we
are you
got
going to
a
watch
problem.
You can't watch your off-brand wrestling.
I'm gonna spy in and steal my neighbor's, pirate my
There
neighbor's
you go.
CW. So,
I told
actually I can watch it through another thing, but I just don't get the local version.
I told Ayana she should either like bake a pie or get a nice pie, take it over to her neighbor's house and see if they'll loan her their password, Wi-Fi password.
Why not?
All right.
Absolutely. Do it.
Yeah.
Share. Let me give you the rundown. We do have a full slate. We're going to replay an interview this hour, and I need to get it going.
Yep.
Brian Luck, superintendent for the Roswell Independent School District, joined us on Wednesday, give us the update on school board and all that. So we'll play that here in just a minute. Chavis County Manager Bill Williams will join us in the 8 o'clock hour today, talk about county business and update us on the last county commission meeting. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, we're talking food. Chef Anthony Noble with the Valley Cafe is going to join us, and we'll get an update on what's new and what's happening over at the Valley Cafe. They definitely got good eats. Whatever they got going on, it's pretty good. So we'll get that from Chef Noble here in the 9 o'clock hour. Before we do that, let's take a look at your weather. Hot, hot, and more hot. That's what we got.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We've got dry, high pressure over the southwestern states, and that means hot temperatures and lots of sunshine for us today. Our afternoon highs 100 to 105. Overnight, we're in the mid-70s, and we should stay clear. About the same for Saturday, 100 to 105 on the high. Light wind and lots of sunshine. We'll stay right around the 100-degree mark with a sunny day coming up on Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 77 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity's at 42%. Winds out of the southwest at 8 miles per hour. Heat advisory kicks in at noon till 8 p.m. this evening. To remind you, it is hot today. Sunny, 105. Our expected high today. Southeast winds 5 to 10. Clear tonight. Overnight low of 73. South winds 5 to 10. Saturday, sunny, 104. South winds 5 to 10. Sunday, 103 under sunny skies. Southeast winds 5 to 10, and then we're 10-something through Thursday at least of next week. And that's only because that's what my weather goes up to is Thursday. I'm sure it goes past that. But 102 on Monday, 103 on Tuesday, 105 on Wednesday, and 103 on Thursday of next week. So I would imagine Friday's going to be the same way. So dress accordingly when you head on out to Wool Bowl Friday night for football action and all that good stuff. So. All right, I think Goddard's at home for the first because I think Roswell's on the road. I know I haven't studied the schedule that hard yet. I'll be doing it here in a day or so. But yes, next Friday night, dress appropriately. All right, 7:20, quick commercial break, 2-minute break. Then we're going to play our interview with Brian Luck, superintendent for the Roswell Independent School District on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
When you're healthy, you can do amazing things. We're all about that. Because if you don't have access to health insurance through your work, or you just lost Medicaid, Be Well can connect you to the right health plan for you, your family, and your budget. We want to make your life a little easier, worry-free, and healthier. Because your health is everything. Be strong, be adventurous, and be amazing. Be Well. New Mexico's health insurance marketplace. Learn more at BeWellNM.com.
Roswell Livestock and Farm Supply is your one-stop shop for farm and ranch supplies in southeastern New Mexico with a friendly, knowledgeable team that can help you find the answer to your problems with brands you know, including Prefert, Pearson, Purina, High Pro Feeds, Ariat, Wrangler, Cinch, Justin Boots, and more. Roswell Livestock and Farm Supply are proud supporters of area sports, 4-H, FFA, and the farmers and ranchers of tomorrow. Open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., Saturdays 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 1105 East 2nd in Roswell. Roswell Livestock and Farm Supply, family owned for more than 50 years.
Hi, everyone. This is Melanie from Glenn's Furniture. When was the last time you looked forward to sleep? Let's be honest here. You know a restful night's sleep has more health benefits than you consciously think about during the day. Here at Glenn's, we carry Serta mattresses, and they've been in the business for more than 90 years. Choosing one can be hard, but I want you to know we have your back. Come see us at Glenn's on the corner of Union and Alameda in Roswell, where delivery is free since 1953.
Artesia General Hospital has welcomed cardiologist Luther Weathers to the team. Dr. Weathers is board certified with a subspecialty in cardiovascular diseases. He treats patients with genetic heart defects, heart rhythm disorders, heart failure, coronary artery disease, chronic high blood pressure, and other cardiovascular diseases. Call 575-736-8270 to schedule your visit with Dr. Weathers in Artesia or visit artesiageneral.com/cardio appointment. Se habla español.
Mulan has the highest kill count of any Disney character. When asked for comment, Buzz Lightyear responded, "To infinity and beyond." Here's Mike Winters.
Yeah, some days I'm a little snarky. Good morning. It is 22 minutes after 8 o'clock. And joining us in studio this morning, Superintendent for the Roswell Independent School District, Brian Luck, back with us. Good morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
How you doing today?
We're doing good for a Wednesday.
Yeah, it's kind of like Sean was saying at the beginning, we're kind of now a couple weeks into the school year. Everyone's kind of finding their grooves now. Everyone's kind of getting into the routine, so to speak.
Feels like it.
Yeah,
feels like it,
and that's a good thing.
Yes, sir.
I know, I get it. It gets chaotic the first week, and you're just like, man. But now everyone's kind of set their lane and gotten the routine down, and the kids, because that's the big thing is getting the kids, especially if you're dealing with younger kids, getting them on board to the schedule again. So now everyone's kind of pretty transitioned to that, I think.
Well, it's interesting, the philosophy of like, well, do we start on a Thursday, Friday like we did this year and kind of let everybody rip the Band-Aid off and then have the 2 days over the weekend, or do you just jump right in on a Monday and just go full circle with that?
And I don't know how parents per se feel at large by that, but I can attest from my wife and almost most teachers and staff, they like it this way. They like that breakup, so it kind of lets them kind of reset the lesson plans and kind of do it, and so they can get there. All right, a couple days of get used to you're back in school again. You got to act like you're in school again. Right. And then next week they can say, all right, now it's time to do school stuff.
Yes. Well, and it gives you a chance to kind of, because everybody has a preconceived notion of what it's fixing to be.
Sure.
And then you get there for a couple of days and then you adjust and you reset. And two, it gives the parents a chance that, you don't necessarily have to have some things, and you get to school and you get that final list of school supplies, and you run out over the weekend and pick them up, and you're ready to go.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's kind of that thing, and obviously I think that because the school year started a little bit, I think that kind of threw everyone's schedule off a little bit, and kind of just different than it usually is.
It did.
That always has a wrinkle in that.
And we talked about that a little bit at the opening ceremonies with our teachers, and I reminded them. I said the one from the calendar committee was the consensus is we really like that full week at Thanksgiving. And, you take those 2 days out of the mix, and then you take an election holiday. So that's 3 days.
Yeah.
We start the almost a full week later if we do that.
Yeah.
But it was different. I won't lie. I mean, I've been in this my whole life.
Human beings. Anytime there's change a little bit, and at the time the change is happening, you're like, grumble. I guarantee Thanksgiving, you're like, man, what a good idea for this whole weekend.
It's interesting you say that. I'm sending out a survey here pretty quick that said, your thoughts on that, and then I'm going to do another one at Thanksgiving and kind of
I bet the answer will be
have
different.
A comparison, and that's pretty much my thought right there. And I've just kind of come to consensus that I'm never making everyone happy. And
that once you learn that, life starts getting easier for you. Once you realize I'm not going to make everybody happy, because you do, and that's just human nature. You don't want to be people mad at you, but yeah. That's life. That really is life, and that's a life lesson.
You want a good start.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so important. I mean, we've had a few years, and just over the course of 20 plus years, you can recall your bad ones, and you can recall the really good ones. And right now, like we were talking off mic, I mean, this one looks like a pretty good start. We've had great response from our teachers. It's been hot, and
and be honest, I know we're a few years out the window of this now, but. We still have the old COVID punch drunkenness going on a little bit here.
To a point.
Yeah. I mean, yes, it's in our rearview mirror, but we're still living in the world post-COVID, and there are still policies and practices in place that, for a good reason, are still in place solely because of what we went through during COVID. And so there's still an adjustment there. And like you said, life's different now. Things like snow days, that was just part of the lexicon. That's not that way anymore. And so school's different because of technology, because of life.
Right.
And how you went to school is not the same as how your kids are going to school.
Well, it redefined most things. Yeah. And so you can't not refer to it because it did put it had a pretty good mark on society in general. But as far as, redefining what we do and how we do it, it reset some parameters, and that's why they're there. So,
And to be honest, most of it will be for the good. And there'll be a few things that come out of this and that's not a good idea. Maybe we ought to back off on that. But that's how these things happen. You put policies in place, and I don't care how polished and everything is, you got to run a test balloon on it a little bit and see how it's going to register. And sometimes they register well, sometimes not so much.
Well, and the things that worked, we kept. I mean, you'd be silly not to keep them if they were working.
If it ain't broke, don't try to fix it.
And the ones that we weren't really in favor of, we've done our best to either massage it to where it works the best for us, or just totally get rid of it.
Mitigate it in a way that works better. But that's life. And the school district's doing it just like your business that you're doing is doing it, and your home.
Sure,
your home's the same way. And once people understand that, instead of coming in with guns blazing on everything, maybe we can be nice. It's the world we live in. But and that's And that's something I always like to remind people, because at the end of this day here, and I know I say at the end of the day a lot, we are all trying to do the same thing. We're trying to provide the best opportunities for our children to receive the best education possible, so when they are old enough and mature enough to make their own decisions, they make the correct ones.
That's right. How simple can it
be? That's all we're trying to do here.
That's it. That's just that. It's not really a big deal.
Right?
Just that.
But if we got to remember that. It's like,
Right.
what's the end game here? What's our end game? And I think we tend to, lose the, can't see the forest from the trees type situation. We tend to forget that. We get so wrapped up on the hill we want to die on because the one thing we think is so wrong or whatever. And it's like, you forget what we're trying to,
Right.
you're going to destroy everything and mess up the real reason why we're here to begin with. And that's every time. And I get it. You defend your kids. You do your thing. You always want what's best. But at the same time, you got to remember sometimes, what are we doing here, Harry? What's the whole point of this? And don't forget that.
There you go.
Yep. So anyway, soapbox done.
Okay, let me make a check mark. There's one. So.
That's right. Oh, there'll be 5 more. I lie. I can't stop myself. But we did have a school board meeting yesterday or Monday.
We did. We had one last night. Remember,
that's right.
We are now back to the second Tuesday of the month. So had a good meeting last night. It was, I don't want to say long, but about 2.5 hours, give or take. Covered a lot of business.
And that's probably a good average length for a school board meeting.
Not bad right there. And lots of topics, so we didn't really get bogged down in one or two things.
Well, I imagine, too, to some extent, this is kind of a slow time of year for the board. Because it's before budget talks and all that. The school year's already been locked and loaded. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're kind of in I'm not saying lull, because there's always things to do, but as far as big deadlines coming up and things, it's kind of in a bit of a lull period for the board there. Things are kind of done for this year. They'll start planning for some things. They've already started planning for next year, but there'll be those things in place.
They were talking last night about a board retreat, looking at some goals, so that's on the horizon coming up. So that'll be like a late August, early September kind of a deal.
Yeah.
And then you make the shift into implementing all of those things, and I think you're right for the most part. I mean, God bless them. I mean, they're always inundated with phone calls and people stopping them in the grocery stores, and first to school.
The life of an elected official.
The life, yes. Reminded them last night that school this is normal for this time of year, and that they should see a little bit of an uptake in communications and they have, and they're always easy to work with.
Yeah. And that's by design. I mean, that's how it's supposed to be. This is why you elect people for these positions. When you have questions, concerns,
yes,
you through proper channels,
Absolutely.
obviously, address those to them. That's what they're there for.
Right. Yes, sir.
With that being said, so I'm glad, like you said, they're talking retreat. So this is kind of, and what I mean, when I was talking earlier about this, whereas they hit certain times, you're like, we got to get the budget ready. Right. We have to have deadlines on this, this, and this. We're kind of in a deadline lull here a little bit. So you can probably work on things. All right, well, what's our big picture for the future? We can focus on these things right now because we don't have a budget deadline or whatever. So I think this time of year you start to see those kinds of
we get to catch
things
your breath.
Implemented. Yeah.
You have an opportunity to not feel like you're being drugged, and you can, the things that you'd like to implement, the projects and the different things that you want to see happen here in the district. And we meet quarterly. I get an opportunity to meet one-on-one with each board member quarterly to kind of go over,
just touch base,
and kind of get a temperature check for what they're seeing, what they're hearing. And, yes, it's that time's coming up with
and let's face it, a superintendent and the school board relationship is a very unique one, because at the end of the day, they're your boss, but you kind of tell them what to do on a daily basis in a weird sort of way as far as how the day-to-day philosophy,
I will tell them what we do.
Right, but but your decisions carry more weight in that room just because you're the superintendent, and then the board is kind of like, their job as a board is kind of say, let me give you the tools to do your job and then go let you do your job. They're not there to micromanage, but at the same time, you're kind of the one that says, look, we have to do it this way because.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you're the one that's been in the classroom and stuff. And school board, sure, some of them may be retired teachers and stuff, but for the most part, their job is to be in that role, not in the classroom.
Well, I will say this. I have been very blessed with the boards that I've worked with as far as just what you said, giving me the tools to do my job and directions like, not so much like we're going to give you the directions of how to do things, but it's, more of a directional approach. Like, hey, be looking at things like this and be on the lookout for that.
Sure.
And they let me do my job. Sure. So I'm very blessed. A lot of superintendents aren't as fortunate as I am.
Some are much more micromanaged.
And I like it. I know it makes it easy to do.
But
the
I would
job
also
that
argue
I do.
this is the reason why, if you look at the history of the RASD, we have a pretty good. I mean, sure, there's always been a couple years where somebody did something and they made somebody mad about something or another. But if you look at the history, you look at we're never in trouble financially. We're always within our. You know what I mean? And that's, I think, a tribute to that mindset you're talking about. A school board gets elected, they do their job, and then they hire a person to be the superintendent and let them do their job.
And we've spoken about this multiple times. I mean, that goes back to community expectations. And so that's one of the things that I really, we're very fortunate here in Roswell that smaller town kind of kicks in a little bit when it comes to that there is still accountability for the local boards and local offices.
Absolutely.
And no, it like I said, it's a nice fit. And for me especially, it's a nice fit.
But that's the relationship that has to kind of happen that way, really, for a school district to succeed. If you've got some of that, and I think our board gets that, and our elected officials get that. You certainly get it, and I think many of our other staff and everything also get that. It's everyone has their part, and everyone does their little part, and it makes the big picture that much. You're all a cog in the big machine.
That's right.
As your cog spinning, it makes the machine go that much better. And I know it seems weird to talk about that with people, but you kind of have to juggle that a little bit. When you're talking about something that involves thousands of people, you got to think in those terms. But at the meeting, you also have to think into the one individual. Right. And that's the uniqueness of what a school board meeting is. You got to think for the best of thousands, but at the same time, you got to have the compassion to deal with the one. And that's the juggling act that school board and school districts deal with,
Interesting segue right there. We had our back to school meetings a couple weeks ago, almost 3 weeks ago now. And this is the first time since I've taken over that we actually tried some larger group events. So we did the elementary teachers and the secondary teachers separately, but we had. So in the AM, we had all of the high school and mid school teachers come into the Civic Center, and I get up on the stage there and I look out and I'm like, well, this is pretty full crowd right here, and spoke to them and then we did our training and broke for lunch, and then we brought in the elementary teachers, and I don't know where they all came from, but they just kept coming.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh my gosh, and I'm sitting up there and I was just like, all of these people work in our district.
Yeah.
And we didn't even have our maintenance and our custodial staff and our kitchen.
Yeah.
So I'm doing the math in my head, and I was just like, oh my gosh.
You get that moment of realization.
There's a lot of people that make this happen. Yeah. And
so many moving parts. People don't realize.
It is. And then like you said, it's tough to try to make sure that you don't miss that one opportunity to recognize someone in a good moment or a bad moment.
What's best for everyone, but at the same time, not losing the compassion for the one. That's the game at the when we're trying to do that while at the same time preparing these kids for the future and all that.
Absolutely.
And so that's the juggle. And let's face it, it's really hard to do all that, and that's why sometimes we get people that are upset this way or that, and that's why we live life and deal with it that way. But
we're going to make mistakes, and we're going to make people mad, and that's just part of that business. But it's at the end of the day, like you said, it's you just continue to try to move forward, and you've got a good vision, you've got a good plan in place, and you just need to try to follow it.
And parents and staff and everyone also needs to realize too that when you do procedures and things, if you have issues with these things, please remember they're not for the convenience of you. The priority one is not those reasons they're there. Priority one is to protect your family, your kids, and make sure they have a clean, healthy, safe environment to be educated. And anything that cuts away from that or potentially endangers that, the school will always err on that side instead of you. That will happen every time. So when a teacher tells you, you will not go into that room right now because we will jack you up because you're not allowed to be in there, you got to listen because they're being bulldogs for your kids.
Right.
They are the ones protecting your kids, and they love your kids just as much. Well, okay, maybe not just much, but equally. They love your kids, and I know my wife speaks this way, and I know a bunch of teachers.
Right.
They will be pit bulls to protect those kids in their classrooms. And so please understand that it's a good thing. So when you do get a moment where the teacher's being a little authoritative on there, it's because of the love of your kids.
Right.
So please understand that.
Well, I brought up there towards the end of the meeting, and I reminded the board and the community in general, if you run into something at a school where the school says no to something, we're not going to do this, we're not going to do that, we're not going to wear this, we're not going to wear that, we're advising against this, that there's probably a pretty good reason, and that it's not just a flippant decision, that there was something has happened in the past.
Yeah, generally when you see a decision made, there's a ton of things that never made the public, and for good reason, because let's face it, people say and do dumb things sometimes, and if you let that go out unchecked, it creates more panic and confusion than necessary. I mean, think about it, folks. You get on your Facebook, and every time there's a lockdown at one of these schools, the entire town goes, understandably, concerned and crazy. If we put every one of those, that slight thing, we couldn't get anything done because there's so many people be panicking unnecessarily when law enforcement or whoever needs to be in the know on this can quietly do what they got to do.
Well, and it back to the sense of community type of a deal. It is the first month of school, and we're having fire drills left and right. I'm sitting out in the lobby. I've had 5 notices on my phone that we've had. I think we had a lockdown drill. We've had 3 fire drills. We're doing that just as quickly as we can. And
again, it's a new year.
That's what you do. And then the nice thing of my security liaison, Mr. Larry Joe Harrell, he had made the comment, he says, after we're done with our drill session, if your alarm goes off, it's the real thing. And so that the shift of, from 20 years ago, you would have random drills at different times, and you just never
They're almost
really
treated like a procedural joke than taken for what they're supposed to be.
And now, the thought of, gosh, why didn't we do that in the past? Why didn't we all do it and be done with it? And so that way, if it ever, when the fire alarm went off or whenever this happened, that you knew this was
somebody
a
like,
legitimate
another
thing.
Drill.
That's exactly right.
This might actually be an emergency situation. So
we have an app on all of our phones, and it tells us everything we ever needed to know about the drills and where it's at and who's involved.
And to be honest, when those types of things occur, the school district does an excellent job of notifying the people that need to know. They put out the robocalls, but they do it to, okay, this is a situation where we don't need to tell the entire school district what's going on here, but we need to tell everybody at school X that's involved here, and that's what they do.
And I've given the directive to my principals that we're not going to do an in-the-day robocall unless it's an emergency.
Gotcha.
So we're not going to break into your day. That's right.
That's something serious.
Yes.
Not send it to voicemail.
Answer that one. We're not going to call you at 1:00 to tell you that tomorrow is taquito day or
those usually come in the evenings around dinner time at around 5, 6 o'clock sometimes when I hear it.
It's interesting because up until things that happened in the past, you don't really think about that. And then now you get a robocall and that's the school. Well, it'll go to voicemail. But if you get a call from anywhere in the hours of 8 to 3, you need to answer that. So if it's during
school hours and you get that call,
you need to answer that one.
This ain't come to the fundraiser. This is, we got an issue. Right. And you need to address something.
There's some action that's required of you here coming up pretty quick. So please answer the phone.
Yeah. So. And that's but to me this is a good thing because we're getting information to parents is so better than it was when you and I were school age kids. It's just, technology's part of it, but nowadays, we all had to wait for the radio or the TV to learn anything about what's going on. Now you find out the moment things are being decided, and that allows parents to. But please, like we said, don't ignore those. Right. But at the same time, this stay in the know, stay up to date. If these things are going down and you start seeing things on social media, if you didn't get a robocall, you're probably not impacted on that.
Well, and the other piece to that is if it truly is an emergency, the school's going to get you. I haven't heard anything. Well, that's because there's nothing out at that point.
And to be honest, you're busy triaging the situation, and you're handling the people that need to be in on it, not the people that do not need to be.
Well, and wow, what a difference 10 years has made with I can't wait, I will not wait, I am not going to wait.
Yeah.
And that's part of what we deal with now with parents, teachers as well. But, the mindset of, well, when we're ready, we're going to let you know, or when we're ready, we'll do this. That's a hard one for a lot of people to take.
Sure.
Because society doesn't work like that.
We're not patient anymore because we live in a world where everything's handed to you now and things. And back in the day I was growing up, they used to teach things like patience is a virtue and good things come to those who wait and all that. Those have been thrown out the window. However, that doesn't mean they're not true. So you live in this world, remember that. Sometimes, well, having it right is way better than having it now.
I laughed. We drove from Dallas to Roswell recently coming back from a trip.
Yeah.
And I think my son said 3 words the whole trip. And we got home and I asked my wife, I said, I'm pretty sure he broke TikTok. Because there's no way there's any more videos for him to watch.
Saw it all.
I don't know how there's anything new.
Yeah.
And that's who we live with now. That's literally, but that's the society we're in, and those are the kids that are coming to school.
Yeah,
right
we're phone zombies. But the adults are just, all of us are. Yes, it's younger, but
the adults are
guys our age.
The adults are no different.
I don't know how many times I sit in restaurants where it's like there's no conversation going on, just 2 people on a phone for 30 minutes.
I have made a purposeful effort whenever I go out to try to put my phone in my pocket and not touch it. And then and then sit there kind of like I'm better than everybody else that's on their phone. So.
Well, but we were raised in an environment that, when you're at a meal, there's etiquette.
Well,
you're not going to sit down and write a letter while you're having dinner. Why would you be getting on your phone? You know what I mean?
But etiquette, the norms and standards of some of those things have been redefined. But
I get if you're by yourself eating meals, and maybe that's one thing. But if you're, dare I say, on a date and you're on, you're probably taking a lot of dates because you aren't getting a second.
Lots of first dates. Lots of first dates.
Anyway, I got way off track here.
Oh, Let's
bring it school board stuff. Let's talk some highlights from the meeting that we definitely want to get on people's radar. I know we got a little philosophical.
We're good. And I tell you what, we had just some basic recognitions. A young lady that had qualified for a music scholarship up in Santa Fe. We had the Goddard High School Skills. Their report back from nationals, and then we honored some of our counselors. A lot of people don't know that, but during the Rio Doso fires, we had a group of counselors that volunteered to go help.
That's awesome. Doesn't surprise me at all.
No, it didn't, and a lot of them didn't want to come and get the recognition, but
doesn't surprise me in the least.
No, but
you're not sending any surprising notes.
Great job there by them. Had Dr. Powell at our meeting last night from Eastern Mexico Roswell.
Good deal.
Speaking in favor of a resolution from the board to support the GEO bond, which coming up, and I know they're going to come and talk to you.
Matter of fact, we had Dr. Powell on yesterday talking about bond
good deal.
They're actually, for them particularly, for those that the money earmarked for this bond for them will all be to the aviation maintenance wing. They're going to update and upgrade that so they can be truly on the cutting edge of
10,000 square feet.
Yeah.
Just 10,000 square feet. Just 10,000.
And then I believe NMMI is going to be doing some more upgrading to facilities and stuff there. Now, the schools, the ones that deals with the libraries, I don't know which bond that is this year, but it's one of the bonds. I always tell you, vote, and again, Brian, and because they can just tell you about the bonds because of their positions, they're not technically allowed to say vote yes. I can. I'm just a dumb DJ, so I'm going to tell you right now, the bonds, when it comes to these bonds for your educational facilities, when it comes to these bonds for your libraries, when it comes to these bonds for seniors, just vote yes, because here's what happens. This is money. You're not going to see an increase in your taxes. These are bonds, and they put out to basically play the stock market to get extra money, and so they say, okay, we got some money. What can we do with these things? And that's what these bonds come to. People say, all right, these colleges want to use these money for these things. Are you cool with that?
Yeah.
And that's all we're saying. You're not going to have to pay any extra money for it. You're not going to see an increase in your taxes. They're just saying, hey, we're going to give these money to these colleges to do these programs. Are you cool with that? And I'm telling you, be cool with that, because everything that they're doing is to make this community better. More opportunities for students, whether it's in the library, whether it's at the senior center, or whether it's in one of our colleges or one of our schools. Vote yes on every one of these. So, sorry, Brian, I had to do my vote yes speech.
Well, speaking of yes, the board did approve the resolution in support of that.
Good.
So we were pretty excited for them. Had a presentation on, so Nancy Lopez. We broke ground on Nancy Lopez last week. give or take anywhere from a year and a half.
The school, not the actual person.
That's true.
Just for clarification.
That's correct. New Nancy Lopez Elementary School going in directly north of Mesa. Excited about that. Then we're kind of shifting our attention to the next project as far as the planning phases.
Well, and that's life in maintenance. You go around and you maintain everything, and just when you're done, it's time to start back over at the beginning and do it all over again.
Well, the interesting one, and I did not know the ins and outs of all of this until getting into central office. The way the funds are distributed to us through the public school PSFA, Public School Finance Association, and Capital Outlay Projects. We have a timeline, and so it's like money in the bank. So we've secured the funds for this, and then we're going to go on and move on to the next one. So, and I know a lot of people are like, well, you haven't even started really, Nancy Lopez. Why are you talking about Mountain View? Because that's the cycle, and that's the way that works. And we've locked that in, and we shift our focus over to there. Mountain View's the new Mountain View is going to be built on the same site. We did that a couple board meetings ago, and had a really neat presentation on the design of New Mountain View and how we're going to be able to construct New Mountain View with Old Mountain View still right there.
Sure.
And combine the gyms and
was curious because I know life happens and technology changes, the drop of the hat and all that. Like when you started as superintendent and we see some of the remodels and redoing of these schools versus Nancy Lopez and these ones that we're breaking ground on now. Is there a vast technology difference already in that time period where things that you put in these first schools are now, I'm not saying obsolete, but there's better stuff to do it in some, because technology just found a better way? I mean, are we already experiencing that kind of thing, or am I too fast on that?
I would imagine give me about another 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
And then I would probably run into something like that.
Okay.
I haven't encountered anything.
Yeah. I was curious because I know life happens fast, and I'm like, sometimes you build things, and by the time you're done, you're like, oh man, they've already got technology that's kind of surpassed this,
Well, in your computers and your phones and different things like that.
That one's different.
Yeah, but like we were talking last night about, Mountain View being built in the 50s, and we were talking about the septic system that's out there, and is there one of them? I believe board president had asked, has technology advanced to where maybe we're not going to have some of the issues that we've had with the older one. And Mr. Sanchez brought that up. He said, this thing was put in the 50s. I think we've surpassed and outlived the life expectancy of that tank.
Well, and ideally, I imagine they're thinking it's like, okay, we're now building a school in the 2024 here. Okay, if we want to the school last next 20, 30 years, what do we? And so I would imagine things like fiber, internet, things that are now kind of the nice things that have. They have to put these in because those are probably the only things they're going to work with whatever technology that hasn't been invented yet that we don't know.
Well, then you look at down the road on the horizon. So kind of in sequence: Mountain View, Washington Avenue, and then the fun starts. I've got 2 great big projects with the Goddard and a Roswell High, and we're talking anywhere from 10 to 12, 15 years, give or take. Sure. Could be anywhere in the neighborhood of 20 years.
Sure.
You get us into 20 years. Roswell High is close to 100 years old by that time, and that, like you mentioned, obsolete technology for buildings that we're just now building.
Absolutely.
You can't even come close to buildings that are.
And I would even argue technology not in like wires and electricity. I mean, the structure and the way the setup, the rooms are done, how they teach, like you said, 100 years ago versus how they teach now. That room may not be set up in a way that's conducive to that. Because we just do it different now, and so some of it's the technology, but some of it's just physically. This room was built with a thing this way, and we don't do it this way anymore.
Well, skylights. You go into a lot of the newer buildings, and they've got skylights in the hall just for natural lighting. Cuts down on the electrical costs, et cetera, et cetera. There are no skylights in the basement at Goddard. They tried. It didn't work.
Skylights is not something they think to put in a fallout shelter.
If there is a skylight in the basement at Goddard, you have a problem.
What you're seeing is the people's pants legs and everything.
Multiple layers of problems.
Yeah.
Couple real quick ones. Just had some informational items about just basic school stuff, nothing off the top. Trying to go through here real quick. Had a couple groups that had qualified to go different places. Roswell High Chorus to San Antonio coming up in March. Roswell High FFA up to Nationals in Indianapolis.
Go kick butt.
Absolutely. We did. We signed a lease. So the state police have taken ownership of current Nancy Lopez.
Okay.
And so we had to sign a lease with them and it's very minimal dollar amount. But got that done. Congratulations. Thank you to all of those parties involved. Again, with that project, that was huge.
I was going to make a joke about it. If you see state cops with extra rulers and stuff on them, that's why. It's because they just took it. But I'm kidding.
Tell you what,
they had Elmer's glue and stuff.
And I will say this first. Well, and they continued this. We have had state police officers that have just showed up at buildings, and they'll walk through.
Love that.
They hang out with the kids. I've got a video of when they were working on the Roswell games, and they were running the 50-yard dash. And the state police were there that particular day, and they raced them.
Now, I was about to say, sometimes
they got out there and they raced them. So, I mean,
I'm not going to lie. It's kind of embarrassing when a guy with 80, 100 pounds of gear, like, runs as fast as you do. You're kind of like, all right, I need to work out.
I watched the video before I saw the context of the text, and I kind of hit my head. I was like, oh, no. And then I read the text and saw that it was a good thing, and I was like, oh, okay, that's – but, they are in and out. And when that does officially open – and becomes a training facility for law enforcement agencies to come in and do real-time drills in an actual school environment.
We were talking about technology and evolution. You think law enforcement training hasn't crazily evolved over those guys are implementing and they need new resources and things just like they're in the same boat you are. Yes. They're growing and expanding and their philosophies are changing and they need the facilities to do that. So that's what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. And the only other thing that I can think of, I know I'm getting pushed on time a little bit, is I have a gentleman that does our videos for the district, and he started noticing, that the viewership kind of had started to drop just a little bit.
Okay.
And they weren't watching the full 3 minutes, et cetera. So we shifted over to a quicker, like a 30-second video, almost like a reel.
Gotcha. Going TikTok or whatever, Vine or whatever it was.
It doubled the time they were watching the entire thing, and then it doubled the amount. They once they saw that it was shorter, they actually clicked and watched it. So we're again, the thought there is we're just continuing to try to make sure that we're meeting the needs and trying to get the information out. However,
in a world where everything's handed to you now or a minute ago.
Absolutely.
Attention spans do tend to wane a little bit when you're used to, I want it now and I want it, yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever it is. That's
yes.
That there's things that change when those things happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I still have more to talk about. I just didn't know if I didn't want to run out of time and miss those.
So. Gotcha. Let's see. We could do another minute or two here.
Let's go.
Else you want to mention?
Oh, absolutely. We went ahead, so our adult meals, like if you come into the cafeteria as a parent, we did have to raise the price of our meals a little bit to stay in our compliance with the federal money that we do receive. So that did bump it up
cheaper
a little
than anywhere else we were going to get lunch.
Yes, it is.
Short of a P&B at your house.
It is. Now, that does not impact the kids at all.
Right.
This is just simply
kids eat whether they, it's all, but if you're a parent, you want to come, we're going to charge you a few extra cents on your dinner or lunch here. So.
Well, I think it's interesting. This last summer, the summer meal program that ended on July 19th served a total of 114,407 breakfast meals in Roswell.
It's amazing, and I imagine they probably could have done more if you know what I mean. It's what they do during the summer is one of the greatest, awesome things for this community.
Yeah.
You don't realize how many kids get a meal every day because the RSD sets up in these parks serving meals or at the school serving burgers or whatever. They do this every summer, and quite frankly, there's families in this town that probably could not make ends meet had it not be for the school district doing these things. So we're very blessed and thankful for it.
Well, and they sit out there, like you said, they're out there. There's no AC. Maybe they've got a shade tree. They're in their full uniforms, and they graciously knock that out. So we're super proud.
Maybe we need to work that a lunch lady fashion show where we can get some more breathable outfits for our lunch
Boy,
staff.
I'm not touching that one. I'm not touching that one at all. No.
We get some of our young students to design outfits and make a whole fashion show.
No, I'm not taking the bait here on that one. Not taking the bait. I would remind people in town, though, school is back in session. The blinking lights have a meaning. I don't need to see you get a ticket, and I really don't. I don't need 6 points off your license and your insurance going up.
It's too easy to slow down for an extra second and spend the extra minute it takes to get through the school zone. Because, to be honest, at best, you get pulled over against a speed ticket. At worst, you impact a life that you can't walk away from.
And
please don't do that.
And nobody wants that. So and if you have an issue, you need to go to the school, you're running late, whatever. Just please remember that we have a job to do too, and work with our people. And if you run it, if it gets to an impasse, we're more than happy to intervene. But like you said, let's work together, make this a really good year.
Absolutely. We're all, again, remember the end game. We're all here to make the best opportunities for the kids so that they have all the tools they need to make good decisions when you're retired and yelling at kids to get off your lawn.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Brian, as always, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other, if we need more than our normal thing or any, don't hesitate to let us know and we'll make that happen. So, all right, 8:58. Let's pause for a quick break before news. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
The Chavez County Commissioners on calling the first ever Convention of States. The goal of the move would be to amend the U.S. Constitution in a way that's never been done before. Miles Culbertson, the state director of a group called Convention of States Action New Mexico, spoke to the Chavez County Commissioners at their last meeting. The purpose of the amendments, he said, would be to impose fiscal restraints on the federal government, limit the power and jurisdiction of the federal government, and to impose term limits on members of Congress. Demolition work is now underway at the Eddy County Fairgrounds on a new livestock barn and multi-purpose building. The estimated project cost about $25 million. The building was approved by Eddy County Commissioners earlier this year. The hope is to have the building completed and ready for use by the 2026 fair. You're up to date. I'm Jared Sorello.
Bill Cunningham is now in Roswell on 106.5 FM, KEND Roswell.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Israeli leaders roundly condemning an attack by settlers in the West Bank. One Palestinian was killed, homes and vehicles set ablaze. This comes as Israel braces for a possible attack by Iran.
White House National Security spokesman John Kirby says U.S. officials are working very hard diplomatically to prevent an Iranian-led attack.
We also have to be ready for one. And I would tell you that we believe we are.
And he warns that while the likelihood of an attack is high, it is unknown.
We don't have a lot of certainty here. So it's not exactly clear whether there'll be one. We hope there won't be.
Kirby says Iran could attack soon with little to zero warning and that its rhetoric should be taken seriously. Greg Clugston, Washington.
On a visit to North Carolina today, Vice President Harris will unveil her economic program. It's said to include price controls on food and groceries. Former President Trump calls them communist price controls, says it is an acknowledgement of the failure of Bidenomics.
Grocery prices have skyrocketed. Cereals are up 26%. Bread is up 24%. Butter is up 37%. Baby formula is up 30%. Flour is up 38%. And eggs are up 46%. And many items are up at much higher rates than that.
President Biden applauding the outcome of Medicare drug price negotiations.
Kamala and I both get it. You know, it isn't just about health care. It's about your dignity. No, it's about your dignity. It's about peace of mind.
Housing starts plunged 6.8% last month compared to June, and new home construction tumbled 16% from 1 year ago. Those figures are dragging Wall Street lower this morning, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average down about 2 points, while the NASDAQ is off 18 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Face copyright infringement and money laundering charges.
German-born Kim.com is a larger-than-life character who describes himself as an internet freedom fighter. He was the founder of Mega Upload, a now-defunct website that was often used to share pirated films and music online. US authorities estimate film studios and music companies lost $500 million and that the site made close to $200 million. Kim.com has been fighting extradition from New Zealand since 2012 when the FBI raided his mansion in the city of Auckland. Now the Justice Minister has signed the warrant. That battle may be over. Kim.com says he will appeal.
The BBC's Paddy Maguire. 41 chunks of meth enclosed in candy wrappers unknowingly distributed by an Auckland, New Zealand food bank. No known injuries or deaths. Townhall.com. Arizona, Nevada, and Mexico will have to get by with less Colorado River water again next year.
It's happening after the U.S. government Thursday announced water cuts preserving the status quo. Long-term challenges remain for the 40 million people reliant on the imperiled river. The Colorado River is a lifeline for the U.S. West and supplies water to cities and farms in northern Mexico as well. Years of overuse combined with rising temperatures and drought have meant less water flows in the Colorado today than in decades past. Keith Peters reporting.
Hurricane Ernesto continues on a course toward Bermuda, where hurricane warnings have been posted. The hurricane's winds have been clocked at 100 miles per hour. That's maximum sustained winds, with higher gusts than that. It's feared the storm could swamp Bermuda with up to a foot of rain, all of that starting later today. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The devil listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2.
The Deuce
of Mornings with Mike Winters right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Friday.
Yes, we have made it.
It is here and it is good. Oh, it's going to be hot. But it's going to be hot forever, it seems like. For the
oh, yeah. For the foreseeable
That's
future.
where we live now, in hot.
I've been 40 for about a week now. A little more than a week.
Yeah, 1 full week of 40 under your belt.
My birthday party is tomorrow evening. It's been a real complicated month, so trying to fit everything in was kind of hard. But yeah, we're finally doing it tomorrow night. I have spent far too much money on.
I feel like it's your birthday party.
You know what? I thought about it, but I was like, well, I want to make this a good one, so I'm going to make sure I have what I need.
And you don't trust your friends to make it a good one?
No,
you're digging a hole here.
That's not. You're digging it for me. I tossed you the shovel to help me out, and you dug me deeper.
That's what I did.
No. I decided a few months ago that I was going to do things a little different this birthday. I want to throw a cocktail party, but I'm going to bartend since I've been kind of
since you
messing
did
around.
that, you need your ingredients.
Exactly. I can't count on people to bring things that I need. If,
Although I would.
Yeah. Oh, and I've definitely put it out there.
And then when you screw it up, you blame them.
I've asked for additional, if somebody wants something special, like an espresso martini, bring a bottle of Kahlua or something like that.
See, this would have been your out. So if you make them bring this stuff, and then when the drink's kind of not right, you're like, see, if you brought me the proper bitters,
I'm still
that would have been a right drink.
I'm still gonna keep whatever's left, so it's fine. I can still get to
that's the
experiment.
birthday part.
Yeah.
I
But,
gotcha. What's ever left of this bottle or whatever we brought today.
That and I'm putting out a tip cup, so
There you go.
I'm hoping my friends bring a couple of loose singles.
Or sticky notes with very valuable pieces
Oh yeah, a
of advice.
couple of IOUs. That'd be great. That'd be great.
Look both ways for you across the street.
Although it should be known, I have a bad history with IOUs and my past. So
this one's for Lamborghini. Might want to hold on to this one.
I've worked it out with a therapist though, so it's fine. But yeah, no. That's tomorrow night, so
good. That'll be fun.
It should be fun. Although I had an incident at the Sam's Club parking lot yesterday. I was trying to. First of all, it's very awkward when you're trying to buy bulk, because I'm trying to save a little bit of money here.
Mm-hmm.
But I look like a wino who just got his tax check or something.
Yeah.
Because I'm walking out with 5 giant bottles of various liqueurs.
They'll see that and they know.
Yeah.
Oh, he must have a party, or oh, he's got a problem,
Or he's got a very
It's one of
serious
two
problem.
things.
Right.
And
So close to the weekend. But no, as I was trying to put them in my car, the Hot Pockets box that I was using to transport the bottles in broke, and bottles went everywhere. Thank the liquor lord. I only broke one.
You know what? Limp Bizkit was in New Mexico last night.
That's right.
I'm going to blame them.
Fred Durst is our liquor lord.
He started playing Rollin', 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 and none of the bottles broke.
That's true. They did. They just kept rolling.
That was a long time for a joke, but I was going to bring it.
I like where you went with that. It's pretty well played. But props to Sam's Club, because they promptly let me swap it out. And
Good. That's cool.
I brought in a box of broken shards of glass, and they were like, "Yeah, just go."
Yeah, I'm sure that happens probably 3-4 times a day to them. Probably.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna guess that's what goes on there.
You think you're special?
Wow! What? No, I was just.
I can see it in your eyes.
Dang. Roy's like, all those times you messed with me.
He's been really calling.
Prepare for the retort.
He's been
this
calling
time I'm
me
gonna
out
let
like-
it all come out.
I see what he's doing. This time he's gonna stand up and shout. Gonna do things my way. It's my way.
You make him want to shout.
But he has been this bit notwithstanding. He's been calling me on my crap all week long. Like I did some joke yesterday, and he just walked out. He's like, "Really? With your history?" I'm like, fair enough.
Oh no, this is kind of.
I gotta make a request so that we get a popcorn making machine in here, because I'm just gonna sit back and eat popcorn half the day and watch y'all converse.
Yeah. Not wrong. Well, like the other day with my driving, we were talking about how I do drive defensively, but I also drive offensively when necessary.
I drive one of the is of least.
Sometimes the best defensive driving is offensive driving.
But which ism is your?
We turned all of our driving into coach speak. We just got to play the game, man. You got to be there, and you got to give 100%. And then when you're driving defense, you got to. Sometimes your defense is your offense, your defense. But don't forget special teams.
You come out here and you hope to play a good game, and you think you play a good game, and I think we played a good game.
To drive to a destination, 2 of your 3 facets have to work at 100%.
That's true.
Either your offense and your defense, or your special teams and your defense.
And when you're bringing special teams into your driving, that's it's time to maybe rethink.
Got to eliminate the turnovers. Can't
That's right.
Signal to your team. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, that joke's run its course. But well, cool. Well, have fun at your party.
Should be.
You should invite Roy just to.
Oh no, I was just.
Ooh, make him special drinks.
Special drinks?
Yes. And then you'll learn the world of Roy more than you want to.
Ah.
Tackling fuel.
I thought special drink was just like Ovaltine and water.
Well, no, because Roy would be like, hey, don't make mine too sure, Roy. And then you're just dumping.
I got a couple of secret ingredients that I might throw in.
Here, Roy, I'd call this one a cement mixer. Try it.
You ever had a dirty martini?
Martini?
Martini.
Oh.
A dirty martini.
No.
It's basically a regular martini, but you use olive juice or olive brine. It's actually the only way I'll drink it, but a lot of people won't because of the connotation of a dirty martini.
When I shop Temu, I like to drink a dirty martini.
Which, by the way, you can buy homes on Temu now.
Is there such a thing as a clean martini?
Yeah, that's straight up.
Oh.
When I partake in wrestling night, I like to have a dirty martini.
Hey. There's nothing wrong with a little sophistication in my mud pit. All right?
I know. It's just like now.
When I pull up to the trailer park for the evening, I like to adjourn my evenings with a nice dirty martini.
Yeah, I was just thinking like all your drinks are named something on a beach or something. something dropping. You can
make your own drinks.
Something like that.
I found an interesting combination that should not by any stretch of the imagination work, but really does. Equal parts Kahlua and orange juice tastes just like a Tootsie Roll. Like, legitimately.
You realize people
crazy.
don't eat the Tootsie Rolls. they like put them in a pile and give them to your old
I love
relative.
Tootsie. How do you take that back? How dare you, sir?
Tootsie Roll is the ghettoest chocolate ever known to man.
That's why I love them, because
awful.
they're everywhere. You can find them everywhere.
It don't even taste like chocolate. It's got a smell to it that doesn't quite taste the smells. That makes it all different. I ain't gonna lie.
I also have to say shout out to Ayana for paying attention to the morning show and getting me a bag of circus peanuts for my birthday. I ate half of one. I'm like, hey, thanks.
Anybody want a peanut?
Like actual circus peanuts or the candy?
The candy circus.
Candy circus peanuts.
Not peanuts from the circus. No.
She
how
did
many states I had to go to find a circus?
I listened to this show, and then I got online to find circuses near me. A lot of work in for this, and you ate half of one?
One I thought was a circus, got there was only a carnival, so I had to move on.
That was just a country jamboree.
All right, we better get the hour going, or it's going to get really.
Yes, Mr. Billy.
You know what you have a chance to do? I wonder if you can get away with this, where you can make your own drinks as a bartender, and then, make other drinks that actually exist, but give it your own name to them, and then see if you can fool people and into changing the culture around.
If you put your own
area.
spin on a drink, you can do whatever you can call it whatever you want. That's sort of like. That's the thing that bars do now is they'll like
the signature drinks.
Add a tahine rim or something and then they'll call it like the zesty sex.
Yeah, I'm
or
sure there's
something,
1,000 drinks that are all the exact drinks, but have 1,000 different names depending on the establishment you purchase it at.
Over there, it's Miami Vice. Over here, it's Breaking Bad.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, it depends. And then you get John Taffer rolling in, and they create their signature drinks and all that, and it's same drinks, different names.
Yep.
Well, it's and because it's a sea thing, we're going to call it a dirty salty dog. Whatever it is.
It's got mushrooms in it.
Yeah. We're going to call it a hobby salty dog.
You'd be amazed what you can stuff inside of an olive.
That's right. Bill Williams, Chavis County Manager, patiently waiting in the other room for this. So we probably get the hour going. So he'll join us in just a bit, give us an update on what's happening around Chavis County, highlights from the commission meeting as well, and whatever else we can talk about county-wise. And who knows, maybe we'll give Sean a few drink recipes.
Yeah, probably got a few under his belt.
Oh, Bill's got there. So, but before we do any of that, though, let's go ahead and take a look at the weather. It's just going to be hot.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We've got dry high pressure over the southwestern states, and that means hot temperatures and lots of sunshine for us today. Our afternoon highs 100 to 105. Overnight, we're in the mid-70s, and we should stay clear. About the same for Saturday, 100 to 105 on the high, light wind, and lots of sunshine. We'll stay right around the 100-degree mark with a sunny day coming up on Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 81 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 38%. Winds currently out of the southwest at 7 miles per hour. Heat advisory kicks in at noon today. In case you need a reminder, it's hot. And that will remain in effect through 8 p.m. this evening. We are expected to hit 105 today. Under sunny skies, I guess. Like cloudy and 105, that'd be weird. Southeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear tonight, overnight low of 73, south winds 5 to 10. Saturday, not much better, sunny, 104, south winds 5 to 10. Tomorrow night, clear, overnight low of 72. That's the other thing. We're not dipping in, we're staying in the 70s overnight too, which, that's not cool either. We're the desert, it's supposed to get cold at night. And then Sunday, we're looking at a high of 103, clear, overnight low of 71 Sunday night, and then all next week. I have through Thursday, and every day is above 100. 102 Monday, 103 Tuesday, 105 Wednesday, and 103 Thursday of next week. So get used to it. This is our new normal for at least a little bit here. And I imagine next Friday for football, probably going to be just as hot. So remember that. Plenty of liquids and things. I know, thank goodness, it's in the evening and part of the game will be dark. But it'll drop down to the 80s by that time, and you'll need so drink plenty of fluids that aren't alcoholic related. You're at the high school. You're not supposed to be doing it anyway. All right, it is 8:18. We're going to take a 2.5-minute break. Then County Manager Bill Williams will join us here on the other side. Don't go away.
What made Roswell Hyundai the #1 used car dealership in southeastern New Mexico for 2023? It's simple. Great selection, great savings, and great people. Right now, the lot is loaded with all new Hyundai models, including Elantras, Santa Fe's, and Palisades. And with 0% on select new, 5-year warranty, and 3 years free oil changes on all 2024 models in stock. Now's the time to trade up and save big. So, what makes Roswell Hyundai the #1 used car dealership in southeastern New Mexico? You do. Come check out the all-new and used car supercenter only at Roswell Hyundai, 1909 West 2nd.
With summer here, it's cool to be at the Cow. The Calico Cow Fabric and Gift Shop is your authorized Brothers Sewing Machine dealer for Southeast New Mexico, and they're all on sale right now at the Calico Cow. New fabric styles for summer are here, and holiday and Christmas fabrics are arriving daily. If you're still stitched to your own machine and you just want a tune-up, call for in-house maintenance 575-639-2586. The Calico Cow Fabric and Gift Shop, 200 East College in Roswell. Want to know how? Come see the Cow.
Artesia General Hospital has welcomed cardiologist Luther Weathers to the team. Dr. Weathers is board certified with a subspecialty in cardiovascular diseases. He treats patients with genetic heart defects, heart rhythm disorders, heart failure, coronary artery disease, chronic high blood pressure, and other cardiovascular diseases. Call 575-736-8270 to schedule your visit with Dr. Weathers in Artesia, or visit artesiageneral.com/cardio appointment. Se habla español.
Edge Safety and Services, LLC in Artesia, New Mexico has an immediate opening for roustabout crew and a safety technician. Position requires a clean driving record and must be able to pass a drug and alcohol screening. Edge Safety offers great pay with IRA benefits and employer contribution towards health benefits. Please email resumes to edgecoding@yahoo.com or apply in person at 2801 North Freeman in Artesia. Edge Safety and Services is an equal opportunity employer.
This is Dallas Cowboys football 2024.
Prescott in the gun, runs it up the middle.
Only heard here.
Skinny post, walk in, CeeDee Lamb.
All season.
Pressure up the middle. He's hit. He's sacked by Parsons.
Saturday night, it's your Cowboys and the Las Vegas Raiders. Live from Allegiant Stadium. On this Dallas Cowboys radio network station.
Pre-game at 7, kickoff at 8 on your official Dallas Cowboys station, 92.9 The Brand.
Your fingernails grow faster on your dominant hand. Not sure which is your dominant hand? Just wait. You'll nail it. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 21 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, Chaves County Manager Bill Williams back with us. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well so far.
How's life? Did you get your burrito this morning?
Well, actually, we went to Martine's this morning, and I got a Marty McMuffin. Have you ever had one of those?
No, I usually go Huevos Rancheros.
So if think about a McDonald's Egg McMuffin.
Yes, yeah.
So you take a English muffin, get your egg cooked however you want it, and I usually get them over medium. I like them to be a little bit juicy, but not running all over.
I like a little yolk in my stuff.
And then you have a choice of what kind of meat you want. So you can get the sausage, or you can get the jalapeno sausage, or you can get bacon, or you can get ham, whatever you want on there, and green chili and cheese. And the green chili is nice and spicy this morning, so it was a real pleasure.
You know what? Maybe I need to break away from my Huevos Rancheros.
Well, and it's a small breakfast too, so if you don't want to overeat, which
And
I
that's-
always want to overeat.
And to be honest, I need to be thinking that way
Yeah.
now. I'm at that point in my life where I got to stop eating like I'm a teenager.
So a little change of pace, but it was well worth the change. It was really good.
Good, yeah, because I'm a very go-to guy, and I'm like huevos rancheros, green chili stew, thank you, over easy.
Yeah, they kind of know what I'm expecting as soon as I walk in.
Yeah,
So.
and then lunch I'll go different because believe it or not, and I know this is they have great burgers and stuff over there too. And
Yeah.
I know people go over there and love getting Mexican food. I'm like, no, I like their patty melts. I like their burgers.
I had a burger there Tuesday, I think. So,
Yeah.
so I know exactly what you're
Yeah,
talking
I'm
about.
like, no, I'll break that rule. I'll eat non-Mexican food here. Don't tell me what to do. But anyway, good stuff. But good. I'm glad. I'll have to remember that. I think I'm going to try to.
Yeah,
try there.
it's really good. You can get it on a muffin, or you can get it on an English muffin, and I always get the English muffin. Kind of holds together a little better.
Well, it's got nooks and crannies.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
That's the big thing about English muffins. So, but for folks not familiar, of course, Bill is the Chavez County manager, and of course, he 99% of the time usually joins us the day after a county commission meeting, which this
Always
is the
try
case.
to.
Yeah, once in a while the meeting moves and we have to do things and to adjust accordingly. But generally, when Bill's here, usually the day before. Our county commission has met, or the day after.
Yeah.
The day before the county commission met. That's what I was trying to say.
I just misheard it.
Yeah. But so that being said, yes, our county commission did meet here yesterday. So and these are always one of those. Like I feel like this is that time of year. It's like the calm before the next storm.
Well, that's pretty much true because it was kind of a boilerplate. You know, we start getting new agreements and stuff because the fiscal year ends June 30th.
Yeah.
July starts the new year. We had a bunch of agreements yesterday with children, youth, and families, you know, juvenile justice continuum grant.
Sure.
Those things, and those all come in July. They have to be signed and sent back, so we have to ratify the agreements whenever we go to the commission.
Like after all the budget dollars have been decided and everything, now it's time to sign and execute the contracts and things.
Right.
To say yes, we're going to support you with X amount of funding for the next year here.
For a variety of reasons, the commissioners always approve those. So it may only need to be signed by the chairman.
Sure.
But still, they put it before the whole group and say, "Do y'all agree to this agreement?"
Again, transparency and just so everybody and to be honest, if the public has an issue about something, this is how they know and find out about it. And then you can talk to your commissioner about, I have an issue with that, and here's why.
So we had 5 grants. The Juvenile Justice Continuum Grant, which is for at-risk youth, and so Wings for Life Elementary After-School Program, Wings for Life Middle School Program, Chavez County CASA Alternative Education Program.
Not that people complain about these. This is kind of the stuff they do every year. You know, you realize, it's like, the county, because all of these organizations in some way, shape, or form provide a service to the county.
Right.
And so they're basically getting compensated for that.
Yeah, CASA, they do wonderful things for us. We've got the Alternative Education, Gender Specific, and Youth Advocacy Program. And then a little bit later on, we did the State of New Mexico Youth, Children, and Families Department, which is for at-risk juvenile or children. So anyway, it's that time of year when we have a lot of catch-up. It was a pretty short agenda. Did have a kind of an unusual twist and turns. Usually it's pretty easy to expect and anticipate what's going to happen.
Follow the timeline.
And things changed a little bit yesterday, so it was kind of interesting.
So a wrinkle or two was thrown in for funsies yesterday.
Yeah, and nothing bad or anything like that. It was just didn't go the direction that it.
And this is
like
why we have
would.
these public forums, just for this very reason, to dot the I's and cross the T's.
Right.
Like, oop, an I forgot to get dotted. Let's fix that. That's in essence what's going on here.
Yeah. So we started out, and we have our usual introduction. People from our community come in, give us reports and stuff. So Mike Spiritu from the EDC Chamber came and gave us an update. The 4-H, who have a new representative with them, Mrs. Wright. We met Mr. Wright a few weeks ago when we went to Littlefield,
I feel like
Texas.
this is a movie plot here, waiting for Mr. and Mrs. Wright.
But she's in their 4-H program now, and so
they Andrea went on to work
at the university.
At the university,
she's doing great things at a little higher level.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
that's really good.
But she was a 4-H for as long as I can remember.
For a long time. She was in there for
she did a great job.
several years.
So So the new person's got a probably good foundation, thanks to Andrea, on where to keep the program running and going.
Absolutely,
there.
and you know their whole staff over there. They
the extension office does great work.
Oh my gosh, you know. No one over there is phoning it in. They are all working,
and it's all hands on deck because you know that office they do more than just 4-H. By the way,
right.
They're your home economic site because they're a product of New Mexico State University.
Right.
That's kind of their employer per se.
Right.
And but they you know if you need that's the master gardeners, all the Drew stuff, and if you got commercial or private gardening and plant stuff issues, they're the people. Anytime you're dealing with pecan weevils, they're the folks that help you navigate through that. So they do way more than 4-H over there. But all, I guess, the 3 people in that office now they're back to 3.
Well,
they kind of all help in every same way. So one will be helping.
And then they have Amy also, who does the snap.
Yes.
Snap stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know for sure.
Snap program. We'll
Snap
go with
program.
that.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called, not Snap stuff. But and then they have some other help there too, and everybody over there does a really good job.
Yeah.
And of course, Drew needs a lot of attention and babysitting. So you know, the more they have to watch
Bill
over
said
him.
that, not me, Drew.
Now Drew's great. Whenever
Absolutely.
I'm trying to identify weeds or grasses in my pasture and stuff, I'll say, I don't recognize that one, and I'll take a photo of it or pull some up and take them to Drew and say, Drew, what is this? And he'll say, you know, if you'd brought it to me before it was 4 days old, I might have been able to tell it was pretty
now
droopy.
it's just a dead leaf.
Yeah. So I usually have to go back home and get a photograph or whatever, and then he responds right away and says, oh.
They do. And matter of fact, I can't remember. It's either the second or third Saturday of the month. They're out at the library. Of course, the library's having some AC unit issues, so a lot of that's on hiatus right now. But normally, each month, the master gardeners, Drew and his other people that there's actually people that know more about gardening than he does.
Yeah,
and they're usually the ones. They're the ones that are usually running the library free classes they do once a month.
And you know, back when I had a public applicator's license for spraying pesticides, Drew's office. Drew wasn't there at the time, but they always give us our continuing education units. You have to have those every year to maintain your license, and so I always enjoyed going over there, and they always had really good people come in and talk to us about all kinds of cool stuff. So that's always interesting and fun.
I remember, because we've had the extension office on since the show started, and back when we started this show, back in 2015, back then Sandra Barraza was kind of the Drew of that time period, and she was equally, probably, who knows? Drew will tell you she knows more. I'm sure Sandra will say Drew knows more. Yeah. They'll have that argument all day, but they're both very well versed in that. And Sandra, like, matter of fact, I used to, because there's a tree that it's slightly more mature and bigger now, but there was this tree and it just had green bark, and I just kept calling it the weed tree because it literally it's an elm. No, it's actually Sandra's the one who identified it as some kind of breath of life. Something
tree of heaven,
something like that. Yeah, that tree is that thing, and now it looks like a tree, so you can't really. Yeah. But for many years, it just looked like a big weed.
Yeah, yeah. Sandra's really good, and she's really good with range grasses too. You know, she's got a real ability to identify. Grasses are hard. I remember in high school when I was judging crops, and that's the broadleaf plants are a lot easier to identify. They're pretty distinctive. Get to grasses, and almost every one of them looks exactly the same.
It's green or brown, and it's long and skinny.
So anyone that can identify grasses is tops in my book.
That's right, absolutely.
So along with our people that came and talked to the commission yesterday, we had Dan Jennings from 100% Chaves County. He came.
We've had him on the show. They're great. They do a lot of stuff in the community. From everything from homeless to resources for people getting in touch with whatever resources they need to do whatever they got to do to get to the next thing. That's what they do.
And we got him to do a report. Well, he did the report yesterday, but he did some research for us, looking into ways that we could maximize our funding that we have for opioid use disorder.
This is the lawsuit money from the opioid thing.
So we have about $2.5 million, and it's going to be coming in over about 15 years funds. We've talked with the city about pooling our funds and trying to put together something. We're still negotiating somewhat on that, but we have a considerable amount of money, so it's a good head start. And we don't want to just.
And I'm sure there is, like, it's got to be used in some form of health-related treatment.
It has to be for opioid use.
Directly, okay, not just general health care, opioid use.
Right, there's a percentage of it. I think they said up to 15% of it or something could be used for other mental health disorders, which are often
all attached
together.
Because opioids generally are a treatment for a bigger issue.
For another issue. And a lot of times people get hooked on them or whatever. Exactly, but so anyway, there's a need to find ways to utilize those funds to do it. And so he presented a report talking about how many children, for instance, are born in Chaves County that are hooked on methamphetamine, those kind of things. And it's a really sad thing, but that happens not only in our community and all communities. But he presented a good, robust report about all the different things that are going on here and the different categories that they would fit in within the opioid fund. So we're at least getting some identification.
Well, and that's it. We got to do your research. Let's get, quote unquote, looking for the most bang for our buck here. And that's really what we're trying to do. Commissioner
Daradana and Counselor Christina Arnold have worked pretty tirelessly. They have a monthly meeting and they get together with some other community leaders and healthcare professionals and try to determine a direction for us to go. And this is all new. We've never had.
But it's so important because, and this is me personally, I think, we need to address the opioid mental health, that side of thing. If we can invest and do, I got a feeling some of our other problems will go away.
Well,
is all I'm saying. Once we get a hold on mental health and start treating it like cancer and everything else, and start funding it and researching it like we do cancer and Alzheimer's and all these other, for lack of a better term, more sexy diseases. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Till we do that, we're going to have these problems. But I think if we really do, and this is a start of that, investing this back in, I think we're going to find other quote-unquote issues that we're having starting to less be issues because we're tackling the source of the problem.
Right, and this is a good influx of cash that we can use to figure out how we're going to carry this into the future. It's not just a one-time bang, we're done with whatever project we're investing in.
Sure.
This should help us to have something that we can continue with for years to come.
Absolutely.
And before we get too far off this topic, I want to say that the jail is not the appropriate place to do mental health care. And that seems to be the unfunded mandate that comes out of Santa Fe all the time, is if there's a way that we can force you to do this in the jail, the medically assisted treatment program, where each county jail basically becomes the drug dealer for the community.
And then,
that's not
you could
right.
have the philosophical debate, and it's like, well, what's the point of a prison? Is it to punish or is it to rehab? And I always say it's both. Because, yes, if you can rehab and rehabilitate someone, then by all means, let's do that. But some people absolutely refuse to go down that path. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do with them? If they won't accept the treatment, they refuse to do it, and you're doing everything in your power to get them to say, do the process. How you got to punish them? You got to lock them up, put them away. If they're refusing to be in society because of and they're not willing to work on their crimes, then guess what? Then you ain't seen light of day.
And there are a lot of people that mental health issues cause them not to be able to react.
But there's people
but you do not send them to the jail and expect a jail officer to be the person that treats them and helps them through that. And that's why we need our state hospital back. And that's why, rather than blow a lot of money at our state, we've got record amounts of money coming out of southeastern New Mexico, out of the oil fields. We should be building state hospitals. They haven't been unable to send people to Las Vegas for so many years because it's an antiquated, too small. Maybe they need to redo that. Maybe they need to build one in Las Cruces, another one in Albuquerque.
Well, and that's the thing, too, is people, it's like, because we all think of insane asylums and the things we think of in the 40s, 50s, and all the stuff. I'm like, no, we need the state mental hospital still, but what goes on in the building in terms of treatment is way different than what it used to be. That's what we need, the concept of a place to take people that have these issues and they're being problems in society because of these issues, but they don't necessarily deserve to be locked up and thrown away in jail because ultimately it's a medical thing.
It's a medical thing, and we should not be put in that position to try to help someone through a mental problem.
That or put them in a place where they're locked up with people that, let's face it, are bad people. And It's all about influence. People with mental health issues they're going to be influenced by the environment they're placed in. That's just, I mean, you could do I'm sure you could do 7,000 scientific studies. You put, and it'll prove what I'm just saying right now, that you put them in this environment, that bad things will happen.
Well, and the same thing with the drug treatment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can do some education and things like that in the jail. We do those types of things in our jails. But as far as actually treating the people, you have to have a medical degree. We don't have medical degrees,
true too.
and we should not be put into that position where we're responsible for that, and each of our counties is responsible for the liability that comes with that as well.
Let's just face it. You wouldn't want the warden of a jail making decisions on your health care, no more so than you want your doctor making decisions on your security.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
And that's, this is a pretty good segue. We also approved an agreement yesterday for Roadrunner Health Services to provide our health care within our jail facility.
Excellent. Good deal.
So we hired them last year. Actually, I think it was 13 months ago. We the way the contract fell, we ended up extending it for a month or something like that. It's a little bit unusual. Normally it's 12 months, but because of circumstances, it was either 13 or 13 and a half months, something like that. So we got that all done. We went out for a request for proposals. We had some entities request to be evaluated to be our healthcare provider. We stayed with Roadrunner Health Services again, and they're doing a good job for us. And again, going back to jails, that's what we do. We hire the best qualified people for our jail, and then they're the ones responsible. So if someone comes to jail and they're sick, they take them over to medical. Medical takes care of them with the appropriate medical professionals, and then we return them to their cell or to their pod or whatever the case is. And the responsibility for that is on them.
You let the experts that are experts in their field make the decisions on what need to be done there.
Right. Yeah. And just mandating that now you're going to add a program to your thing for medically assisted treatment of opioids. Your cost for your healthcare provider goes up because they have to have additional people there because they have the liability to watch people. So they have to have additional people, which they charge us for. We have to have additional guards, officers, whatever you want to call them, because they have to be segregated and held separately from others.
Absolutely.
You have to have a whole nother area to hold them because they can't just be in the general population now.
Yeah. You're trying to treat people, but you're doing it in a place where you have to add a whole nother level of security and things because of the nature of what they do.
Right.
Whereas a state hospital,
it's all at one-stop shopping.
Yeah, and that's all they do. You're not dealing with people that are mentally, for lack of a better term, healthy. They just committed a crime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. And when it's kind of like I'll give you an example. Like about 10 years ago, they filmed a movie at the radio station in Artesia called Roswell FM, and you could probably find it on Amazon.
I'll have to
check it out. But anyway, they filmed that. They spent a week filming that movie in the radio station. And that's when he learned you can't have a radio station on a movie set. You know why? Because as soon as you talk or do anything, they're yelling at you to be quiet on the set. and it's kind of like the same thing. If you're in a jail here and all that, you can't really do the real medical stuff that needs to be done because there's too many other variables in the room that prevent that from happening. And where a state hospital doesn't have to worry about that. It's all there. That's all we're doing here. We're not doing anything else. And in the jail, can focus on treating and running and the day-to-day jail for people that, security,
have broken the law.
Rehabilitation as needed, going to their treatment programs and things, their reform classes or whatever they're doing in there to get better. But at the same time, not having to deal with, people that are classified as insane for whatever reason, bipolar
and the
whatever,
other thing that we haven't touched on either is if it's a medically assisted program, you have to provide them an alternative to the drug that they're on, like Narcan. This is hundreds of thousands of dollars a year paid for by the counties, by the taxpayers, you and I.
Yeah, by the way, these are all cutting-edge drugs that are very expensive.
For something that we shouldn't be involved in. That should be a state issue. It should not be a county issue.
Sure.
You guys should handle that on the state level, just like state hospital and all. But anyway, that's a whole nother rant.
Another philosophical
but
thing.
Just really get tired of the unfunded mandates and the responsibilities they place on county jails. And Chaves County's got a good, robust jail system. Look at some of these small counties in New Mexico. This is a big issue for them.
And that's when you start seeing some of these issues on the news when they, when you turn on and there's an issue at one of these places, and it's partly because, like you said, it's not enough resources, not enough expertise, and too much product to maintain and manage. That's in a nutshell what's going on there.
If you're hired to be a detention guard, and they're having you do all kinds of things outside the scope, it's no different than you who are a radio personality, and I want you to repair my television set. Yeah. You're kind of lost.
I try, but I ain't guaranteeing you get a fixed TV. I recommend you go buy a new one, sir. Yeah. But yes, you're right. Absolutely.
So moving on, we had a pretty simple commission meeting yesterday, a lot of just boilerplate, redoing stuff. We had suspension of the minimum property tax requirements. We have a 99.3% collection rate in the treasurer's office. They do a great job of
that's
assuring.
Pretty good.
Yeah, they really do a good job. The assessors set the taxes, and all the treasurers send out the bills. Sorry, dropped my phone. Treasurers send out the bills, and then they make the collections. Okay. And they do a really good job of doing that. But because they collect so much, this minimum property tax, say if you're $100 delinquent, that's all that it is, there's a $5 penalty for that. And, we could suspend that. We don't have to do that. If
someone's, don't get rich off that $5 penalty.
Someone's a day late, it's not the end of the world.
You're just being annoying. You're not actually serving a function there.
We don't have a big problem with that. Sure. So
no, granted, if there's enough people doing it, and they collect enough $5, and we can get income and turn that back. But like you said, it's 99 point whatever it is. So there's like two people out there that owe the county $5.
And why bother? If it becomes a problem, we can reinstate it. It's no big deal.
It's easy enough to get mad at government. You don't have to try to do things to intentionally make it easy for them. So,
we approved our resolution and agreement with the Southeastern New Mexico Economic Development District, the local council of governments. They help us in a lot of different areas. We participate with them and have for many, many years, and they're kind of our pipeline to getting things done in the legislature. Sure. If we need funding for buildings, we need programs, that kind of thing. They do a wonderful job of connecting all the pieces and helping us with
anytime
that.
You're rural counties, rural municipalities, it strengthens numbers in those things because, the big boys got all the guns they want, to fight and to make these, and I'm being figuratively speaking, folks. Don't get all, you're talking about them going and guns. No. Figuratively speaking, of course. But this is how rural small communities, that's how we get our voice heard. They anytime we're fighting sand dune lizard, that's why you always hear Quay County, Curry County, Chavez County, but in county, 7 counties in Texas, 8 counties and it's because that's the only way we get people to listen, and then so that's why these partnerships are so important for when those moments, and they always happen.
And on that subject, we talked about. We went to Littlefield, Texas, to talk about the expansion of the Muleshoe National Wildlife Refuge. I believe that's nothing more than
which we had a great conversation
a land
with
grab
a couple weeks ago here on the show. I invite you to go back and check it out. We had, of course, our state senator elect. We had a couple of county commissioners, Roswell and Chavez County represented bills there. We had a great conversation there. Go check that out if you want to learn more about that.
Well, it's a 6,000-acre refuge, two parcels that make up 6,344 acres, something like that. And they want 7 million acres to land protection area around their refuge, and they want to acquire 700,000 acres of that in fee simple. So we went to Littlefield, Texas. First time Texas has been confronted. They don't have a whole lot of federal lands in Texas. They have a few wildlife refuges. They have a couple national parks. It's not like New Mexico, Utah, Nevada, where we have millions of acres of BLM land in the midst of our state. So it was kind of new and different for them to see the federal government try to reach out and take private land out of ownership. So we went over, had a meeting there. There were several hundred people there. There's probably 60 to 80 people from New Mexico, drove all the way over to Texas for this meeting. They're putting together another meeting now on August the 20th, next week. And they've invited county commissioners from all those Texas counties. They've invited county commissioners from our New Mexico counties. And they want to have a good front, figure out the strategy that they're going to take to try to to fend this thing off. So that was a good segue into that.
Yeah,
talking about the lizards and the chickens and whatever, and the crane. This 7 million acres is for the sandhill crane, which, according to all reports, are not imperiled. There's no issues with sandhill crane, and not even close.
Yeah.
And why in the world would you need 7 million acres? A large portion of it in eastern New Mexico.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like that scene in TV and movies and stuff where the guy's like, hey, can I borrow some money from you? And you're like, yeah, sure. And you pull out your wallet. How much you need? $10 million. Okay, never mind. That's that moment. Like, yeah, we're going to help. How much you need? 100 acres? 7 million. Oh, never mind.
Yeah. You're going to have to go somewhere else for that. So I'm trying to cover, there's one topic I want to get back to here in a minute. We asked for permission to publish for a public hearing at next month's meeting to repeal Alita Ordinance number O-100, which was for Leprino. Leprino got a couple $100,000 to build a new freezer and some other enhancements they're building. That project's long done, and as a part of the Alita, they have to meet certain employment benchmarks and goals, and they've met all those, and so the terms of the agreement have all been satisfied. So we have to repeal the ordinance with another ordinance. It's something the state requires us, has to be removed by the same method it's put into place.
This is why government is fun.
So we had ordinance number 100 enacted to provide the monies through the state of New Mexico. Intergovernmental agreement and project participation agreement are all a part of that. They completed all the portions, so now we're going to pass ordinance number, I believe it's 0116, I think it will be the number. And all that does is says that 0100 no longer exists because it's done. So we also had a condemnation resolution a few months ago. Actually, I believe it was the end of last year. The gentleman appealed it, came in, and they did not accept his appeal, but they did allow him some time to clean up his deal.
So they gave him some grace, but not
so they gave him
fully
6 months.
Asking. Yeah.
6 months. We put together an agreement says you'll do these things in 6 months. He's made a tremendous amount of progress. He's not done. He wanted some more time. They said we'll give you 3 more months.
And that's just it.
To clean it up. We don't need the county to do it. We want him to do it.
And that's just it. When the county, and for the city for that matter, get into these condemnation situations, they don't want to do this any more than you want them doing it. And so if you legitimately show that you're trying to work with them, they're going to work with you. And this is kind of proof in that. It's like, these get extensions, but you know what? He didn't get it done in the 4 months or whatever was allotted, but we can clearly see this person's making an effort. He just didn't start last week. Oh, man, I got to do that. No. And so when you see that, the commission's like, no, we're going to work with you. You're trying to work with us. We'll work with you. It's these folks that say this and then don't do nothing, and then they turn around to nothing, and then they got to condemn this place because even though, despite, in most cases, years of talking and back and forth, these things happen.
He's gotten rid of hundreds of cars. There's still probably about 100 cars, and there are, I believe I counted 21 trailers, RVs, campers, those kind of things that people tend to stay in, and felt like that was a very crucial part.
And let's face it, generally when the county gets involved,
because we don't need a camp of
and that's just it too. The county, especially in the county, is different than the city, obviously, because people live in the county expect a different lifestyle, and people live in this. That's just the nature of the beast here. But that being said, if you're creating a danger to the public or a health and safety issue to the public, that's when the county will step in. No, they're not going to go in and like, oh well, your bushes aren't trimmed, or you got too much weeds. No, this is the county. They don't care about. But if you got 80,000 junked out cars, on your property, or you've got copious amounts of junk just laying around, that's a huge fire hazard. Then we got to get involved.
Well, and that's exactly what brought this person onto the radar screen. They had a fire.
Yeah.
And it burned up a lot of their property, and burned up or nearly burned up a lot of the neighbor's property. They also don't have the appropriate fences. They've encroached on the neighbor's property with their 10 million cars. Neighbors all around.
And this is the exact reason why the county gets involved, for this very reason. Yes.
They're
because you have rights too, just like they do.
Exactly. You've got 10 people saying this is wrong. You've got to step in and correct the
problem.
But
that being said, if the offender is truly trying to make a difference, then we're not going to, destroy them. But And I get it. And this is the juggling that the county commission, are they really working? Are they giving us the song and dance here? Well, and they determined, no, there's a true effort here. And it sounds like, quite frankly, it's a Herculean effort was what we're doing here. This guy's got years and years of crap that's just accumulated that just needs to go.
Right. And he's cleaned most of it up. I mean, they're, like I say, a big concern is any place that people could be living and camping illegally. There's no sewer hookups. There's none of this stuff. You've got to get that stuff cleaned up. You've got to get a fence up around this thing. Those terms were
That's
added.
why people talk about like man camps and stuff. Almost like that's a great idea, but you've got to have the logistics in place. Sure, we got plenty of land, and yeah, we do. But if you can't get water, if you can't get electricity, if you can't get the things you need to it, then it's a bigger Herculean task. And by the way, you ever done a thing to go get water or electricity or telephone? Move to a remote property, it's not cheap because they generally got to drop some kind of lines and like, oh yeah, we can do that. It's going to cost you about $50,000 to get that done.
Yeah, it can get really complex real quick. So the one thing I wanted to mention quickly that I said, usually our commission meetings are pretty easy to.
Oh yeah, we did have a wrinkle
to figure out what direction they're going. You feel like you have a pretty good understanding of what they're going to. Say what they're going to do, how they're going to vote on things, just by kind of knowing the personalities of our commissioners and all. And yesterday was one of those exceptions. Our commissioners always are pretty much row in the same direction. Everybody's working towards the same goals, and the same thing with this one yesterday. However, we had a resolution to support the Convention of States objectives, and we talked about that a little bit last month. I'll go back over that again here in a minute. It was voted down 3 against, 2 for.
Okay.
So, I mean, we had a split in our, and everybody left amicably, and we all understand each other's point of view. And now I'll get back to what
we had a
it is.
discussion and vote, and this is the result of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, a few months ago, this organization reached out to one of our county commissioners and said, I'd like you guys to consider this. There's been several counties in the state of New Mexico who have passed this. There are 19 states, I think, so far that have gotten on board with the Convention of States. And what it is if 2/3 of the U.S. states go to Congress and say, we're the states, you work for us, and it has to be 38 of them, has to be 2/3, have to go to them and say, we want you to correct these things. And they all have to say the same issues.
Okay.
So it can't be this state says, I want you to fix this state says, I want you to fix that, this one says
y'all get on the
something
same
else.
page and tell
everybody
us.
on the same page.
Yeah.
And they had this narrowed down to 3 topics, the Convention of States. And they've been working on this for about 10 years.
Okay.
And they wanted to have reforms as far as the monies that are being spent by Congress and by our government. We can't continue to go into debt, however many trillion we are.
We have to be fiscally responsible.
So that's the first one, fiscal responsibility. The second one is to stop government overreach, and that's one that I always, how do you even define that? But that's also a portion of what the Convention of States does. It has to identify exactly what the root problem is and define that. And the third one is term limits on our administration in Washington. Now what those limits are, who knows? What's appropriate? Is it 12 years, 16 years, 20 years? Who knows?
Yeah, start in Congress.
But the states don't actually have a vote on any of this. All they do is say, Congress, you work for us. We're saying you will address these 3 items. Sure. And these 3 items have to be addressed. Now, you guys put together the bills. The bills get put together, and they get sent back to the states. And the states ratify these bills, not Congress. And so you have to have 2/3 of the states say, we agree, this one should be done, this one shouldn't be done, this one, whatever. And so...
and those are good I agree with all 3 of those things. I'd even tack on one more, and I know you only get 3, but is the process on how members of Congress are assigned to committees. That is a
interesting
whole glad backhanding, good old boy type thing. Instead of putting the people that are actually qualified to be on these various committees based on their experience and expertise, they're put on based on how you vote, who you know, and which side won in the election.
Right.
And instead of having the smartest people in the room talking about oil and gas, we're talking about the most connected people in the room talking about oil and gas.
And the same thing with cabinet secretaries all the way through.
Yeah,
there's a real disconnect.
That's another one I'd add to that list. It's like, no, we gotta revamp how these people are put in these positions.
So last month, Miles Culbertson, who's the executive director of Convention of States for the state of New Mexico, came and spoke to all the commissioners. So, like I say, a few months ago, he reached out to one of the commissioners. The commissioner talked to me about it. And what we always do when someone comes up to us with a request for something to be considered by the Board of Commissioners, we have to vet that out. So first thing I did was I started researching and said, yeah, this is a legitimate thing that's been going on for years. It's a big question. Do we want to be involved? Do we not want to be involved? So, of course, the chairman and I discussed. He said, yeah, let's pursue this a little bit. And so we asked Mr. Culberson to come and speak to the Chaves County Commission. He came and spoke to them last month, explained the whole process and everything. All the commissioners got to sit there, ask questions, whatever. In the meantime, we have one county commissioner who's an attorney, and we respect his opinion very much.
He's got an educated opinion in these legal matters.
Yeah,
obviously.
legal matters, definitely. So anyway, he let everyone know yesterday, and he did it in a great manner. He says, I probably should have done this sooner. He says, but I've been researching. I've read hundreds of articles about this, trying to figure out. He says, this has never been done in the U.S. before. And he says, frankly, it scares the hell out of me. There are certain
Legally
things.
speaking,
He says, on the surface, I agree. I think we need to correct these things. But by doing it by this process, there's too many unknowns because it's never actually been done before. And so that's kind of the wrinkle. Sure. Everyone respected that opinion because we all agree that something needs to be done. Sure. Is this what needs to be done? I don't know. Well, and of course, I don't have a vote, but they all voted. They were split. I think everyone agrees that it would be a good idea to address these things. How to address them, that's the question.
Sure.
And so that was our little wrinkle. We're very fortunate that our Chaves County government, our county commissioners work together.
Absolutely.
They treat each other with respect. They honor each other.
Well, and that's how government works.
We recognize that this particular commissioner is one of our in-house experts, and we all respect his opinion.
Absolutely.
They all respect his opinion, and
that's how good government happens.
Right.
You put people in positions, and you elect them because of their expertise, and therefore, if you don't listen to their expertise once in their position, who's the idiot? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So anyway, it's the resolutions passed and down doesn't mean they couldn't bring it back at some later date or something and ask again. Mm-hmm. But for the time being, they just didn't feel like there was enough evidence that this was the right direction to go. And it may be the right direction, but
we got to do some more vetting.
Yeah, we've got to figure this out. And like I say, I do my part to vet it. This is a legitimate thing. It's not just some crazy tinfoil on their head. This is a real deal, and that's what I passed along. And then the decision is for the county commission
and I'm sure,
to make.
Attorneys for the county are going to be digging into this and seeing all the pitfalls and caveats as well, and come to a consensus once all the information's vetted. Right. Yes, this is a good idea, or no, we need some amending on this before we present it in the way in which we're trying.
And like I say, there's been several counties in New Mexico that they felt it was right, and we don't disagree with them. And same thing, several states have already got on board and said we would like to see this done.
Yep.
Maybe it's right, maybe it's but it's a debate.
But the devil's in the details. We've got to get it right. Sure, I want world peace too, but how are we going to do that?
Right.
All right, we got to figure that one out. So same thing. So good deal. Of course, you can always don't forget these are public meetings. You're always invited. The county does stream them. If you go to the Chaves County Facebook page, you can watch them live and on demand for yourself there. If there's any parts that you want to learn more or hear more about that we talked about and didn't get a chance to delve more into and you want more information, go back and watch it yourself.
And yesterday's was a very quick meeting. I will say Commissioner Bilberry, Chairman Bilberry, he runs a tight ship when it comes to a meeting. We get it done. And like I say, most of this boilerplate, he always stops when we need to discuss things.
If it needs to be, then it is.
But when it's just a matter of
as a person that's sat on various boards and been a part of these
really
meetings,
appreciate a person
you
like
appreciate
that.
a person that has the ability to keep it flowing and keep it going and mitigate the delay times on things. You can never, because we all get. I'm just bad. I'm a cause of half of them too.
Yeah.
Most of the time, but I appreciate people who say, "All right, shut your hole. We got to move on."
Let's get out of here.
On that note, we got to shut our hole and move on. Thank you, Bill.
That's a great segue. Thank you.
We will see you next time, if not sooner.
All right.
It's 9:01. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico. News in progress.
With some higher gusts. Home builders started fewer projects last month. Housing starts dropping 6.8% last month from June, and new home construction tumbled 16% from a year ago. Meanwhile, University of Michigan's closely watched Consumer Sentiment Index is up this month for the first time in 5 months. The Dow down 31 points. The Nasdaq is off 29. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business...
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 866-755-5300. That's 866-755-5300. Again, that's 866-755-5300. Call us right now.
First case of Mpox this year, days after the World Health Organization declared the spread of that disease a global health emergency. Ministry says, though, sequencing of the case still being done to determine which variant it is. Townhall.com. Years after COVID-19, nearly every state still dealing with school attendance issues.
Roughly 1 in 4 students remain chronically absent in the 2022-23 school year. That's according to an analysis by the AP and Stanford University economist Thomas D. After doing school online during the pandemic, more kids and parents have decided it's okay to stay home sometimes. Schools are working to identify students with slipping attendance, then providing help. They're also communicating with parents who often aren't aware their child is missing so much school or why it's problematic. John Scott reporting.
Flights and trains in the Tokyo area canceled, people being warned of strong winds. Heavy rains, potential flooding and mudslides as a typhoon nears Japan on its way further north in the Pacific. Storm packing top sustained winds 101 miles per hour with higher gusts. It is expected to pass nearby, but actual landfall is not expected. More on these stories, townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 3.
Chris and Guillermo's.
Mornings with Mike Winters right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Friday, everybody.
Yes.
It's so fun to say it.
You are
good.
correct, sir.
Rolls off the tongue just smoothly.
It certainly does.
It's just a delightful thing to say. So
Quite
happy
nice.
Friday,
Yes.
everybody.
I put something up over on the 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM Facebook page an hour ago. I came across a story, a really interesting story. There's a gentleman who's a retired machine shop worker.
Okay.
He had his own machine shop. So after he retired, he decided he needed a hobby. And he was always really upset with the bumper cars at the local fair.
Do you make his own bumper car?
So what he did was he took a 3-wheeled motorcycle and he put a fiberglass shell over it and used the front end of a 2007 Chevy Aveo.
Okay.
And with the shell and everything, he turned this into a fully street legal bumper car.
Really?
With the
little
stick up and everything.
Does it got the electric?
No, that would have been cool if it shot sparks. But complete with a giant steering wheel.
Yeah.
And a foam pad in the middle of the steering wheel.
Now, is it
just
a
like on a bumper
two-seater
car.
or a one-seater?
It's technically a one-seater because
Okay.
he's right in the middle of the seat.
Okay, because, like if I remember, there was the one-seaters, but then because if you had a kid, but maybe they're not quite big enough to handle their own bumper car, you put them in with mom or dad, and then they go bumping around and doing it. So
Which, in fairness, if you're young enough and small enough in that car, that's basically Whiplash the ride. So you need to if you're small enough, you're riding with me. Sorry,
I feel like I'm surprised there's not more bumper car related lawsuits.
As popular as they are as a carnival ride or attraction, you would think there'd be a whole lot more. Not to mention the fact the entire floor is electrified.
Yeah.
God forbid there's a kid that walks out, gets out of the car and is barefoot. They're not grounded.
It's funny. Was it last summer? I think it was last summer. It was either last summer or the summer before last. I had family. We were in town, and so we all went to Ruidoso. And they love the fun trackers.
Sure.
So we go to the fun trackers, and they do have bumper cars in there.
Do they have bumper cars?
Well, they're
They have bumper boats. I know.
No, they have cars too.
Do they?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not bad. However, it's kind of small. Like the entire bumper driving area is maybe twice the size of this room that we're doing the show at.
Oh wow! Yeah, that's a very small arena.
And there's 3 cars in there.
I haven't been in years.
And now these are a little bit different than the old school like you're talking about.
Yeah.
These are round, and you sit in the middle, and it's got the sticks to go back, and the entire you're sitting in like a bumper inner tube almost.
Right.
If that makes sense.
It does. Yeah.
So it's a little bit different,
Okay,
but it's
so
bumper car.
It's a form of it.
Yes.
But and I don't know if it's still there because I haven't been in years. But at Cliff's Amusement Park in Albuquerque, there was always a full bumper car set, and I loved the bumper cars. I would do that 2 or 3 times.
The King's Dominion, which is kind of like your Six Flags. They're still around. Paramount used to own it. I don't know if they still own it or not. Paramount's King's Dominion, but in Virginia, that was kind of the theme park we went to because that was the closest one. And they had, and I'm hoping to this day, I haven't been in 20 some years or whatever, the traditional, the bumper car, the thing you think of, the arena with the music and the whole. It's like a roller skating rink, but bumper cars. That's kind of that vibe.
Now the truly ironic part about this street legal bumper car this guy built, it can't bump.
Yeah, imagine.
He said if it even bumps a little bit, it's going to crack the frame.
Yeah, and quite frankly, it's generally illegal to bump into other cars.
On
the street. They frown upon that.
They don't call that bumping. It's actually called an accident. But yeah, it was just a really cool. It was one of those aw,
sure,
good for you, old dude. Good
Although
for
I ain't
you.
gonna lie, I wish it did bump because I'd be doing all the jackass moves and trying to drive it into a wall to see how far it bounces me back or some dumbness like that.
I would specifically I would put a CD player in there, and I would specifically only play songs about bumping.
Yeah,
ain't gonna bump no more. Bump, 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 bump in the night. All the bump songs.
I would even take songs that sound like they have bump in it, and then just replace it with bump.
Yeah,
like she's lump. I'd be she's bump.
She bump. She bump. She bumper cars.
I just do parody versions of them all too. So.
I love, and I haven't done it in years, but the memory of bumper carring last time I did it. I want to go back and do it again.
Yeah.
That's one I wish would make it to more carnivals, like fairs.
Well, and like
it's probably a hard one to set up.
Back to fun trackers, the bumper boats are fun, but those are equipped with a squirt gun.
Yeah.
And so it's more about squirting than bumping.
And they also don't move very fast.
Oh, yeah, they're not exactly the epitome of speed. By the time you get to the other end of the thing, you're not sneaking up on nobody. Let's just say that. And to be honest, it usually also 50% of the time turns into, hey, everyone in here, let's just squirt people spectating.
Right. Let's just get Jim over there.
Remember all those, hey kids, remember your mom and dad put you in here? Now let's go squirt them as they stand on the side watching you. It's kind of what, every time I go there, that's what it turns into.
Hey, you see those two people over there that spent far too much money to give you a fun weekend? Yeah, let's make their day a little worse.
Yeah.
Let's do that now.
But the other thing I did do, which I was so happy I did, was the adults, the fast track.
Oh, yeah, fast tracking.
And in my 45, 50-year-old brain, that is so much fun.
That's adult bumper cars because, you're not supposed to.
Well, and that's just it. Like, I'm out there to race, man.
Right.
And so this guy's going slow. I'm
racing. I'm a pit maneuver him, you know?
You dang right I did. And I did it 2 or 3 times. Yep. And they look at me like, don't do that. I'm like, what, not enjoy your racing while I race on these things and do racing things?
I'm the bad guy because I like hot, nasty, badass speed.
That's right. I'm here to race, man. If you ain't first, you're last. You know,
That's right. I turn into Ricky Bobby out there.
I wake up every morning and pee excellence. All right, that's what we're doing here.
He does it. I've seen it. Don't ask why I was there.
I'm a big, hairy winning machine. That's what I am.
Machine. I spew excellence. It's.
I don't know what to do with my hands. But yes, I'm here to bump, man. I'm here to race.
You're drifting in somebody's backstream.
I'm hitting the corner tight. I'm coming out wide, and if you're in my way, we're going down. You're going down. That's just what's happening here.
Kim, block for me.
Oh, she goes. Actually, it was my brother. Now I think about it, it was brother's kid. So it was me and my brother out there doing our thing.
Well, yeah, of course. So now there's a sibling rivalry involved.
But there was a couple. What are you doing on the track? Go get you on a little kid track. Idiot. If you're going to be driving like this, get on the little kid track. This is for men and fighting. This is for racing. This is for hairy winning and toughness. This ain't for no sissy games. Get off here and go to. That's why they got kiddie track. Get on the kiddie track.
There's an indoor go-kart track in Albuquerque that's actually it gets pretty competitive. They have like whole leagues there.
Good. I'd like to do that.
It's like little NASCAR.
I'm thinking I'm a
dude. I smell a collaboration between the Tiny Wrestlers and a little go-kart. Like, we could have go-kart NASCAR.
Not to toot my own horn, but in the world of go-kart racing, I'm a bit of a Mario Andretti. Just saying.
Had your name on more than one walls at a pizza place?
You put me on a good ride, I'll get you the W. Just saying.
Come on, pit crew with me.
That's right. I'll drift, I'll put you in the wall, I'll Dale Earnhardt you, I don't care. I'm winning.
You ain't never seen 4 go-kart tires come off and go back on faster than you're about to.
Right. I have got a whole life of watching nothing but Dukes of Hazzard and Cale Yarborough run around circles. Don't tell me I ain't know how to do this.
That's right.
I seen the Dukes boys jump over every ditch in Georgia, and so I got this.
I think we got it under control.
Anyway, let's talk food. We got the folks from the Valley Cafe going to join us.
And they didn't bring samples.
Oh, bummer.
I
But
know.
Chef Anthony Noble's going to join us. I believe Pastor Troy Smotherman's also going to join us. Church on the Move here. So we'll talk Valley Cafe and talk eats and deliciousness. And so we're going to spend the next few minutes talking about food. So we'll have Chef Anthony and Pastor Troy here in just a bit. But first, let's take a gander at your weather.
Yes.
It is not
enjoyable.
That is correct. It's just not.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. We've got dry high pressure over the southwestern states, and that means hot temperatures and lots of sunshine for us today. Our afternoon highs 100 to 105. Overnight, we're in the mid-70s, and we should stay clear. About the same for Saturday, 100 to 105 on the high. Light wind and lots of sunshine. We'll stay right around the 100-degree mark with a sunny day coming up on Sunday. That's your latest forecast. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton.
Thank you, Steve. Currently, make sure I got the freshest weather. Yes, it is so fresh. It smells fresh. Kidding. 86 here in Roswell. Humidity's at 30%. Winds are calm at the moment. We do have a heat advisory that's officially kicking in at noon, remaining in effect through 8 p.m. this evening. To remind you, it's going to be hot today, but 1 knots for the foreseeable future. 105 and sunny today. Southeast winds 5 to 10. Tonight, clear. Overnight low of 73. South winds 5 to 10. Saturday, 104. South winds 5 to 10. Sunday, 103. Southeast winds 5 to 10. Monday, 102. Tuesday of next week, 103. Wednesday of next week, 105. Thursday of next week, 103. So that's what we got. All hot, all next week. All right, it is 9:17, 2.5-minute break, and then we will talk Valley Cafe with Chef Anthony Noble and Pastor Troy Smotherman. That's on the other side. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Picture this. You're behind the wheel of a John Deere compact tractor. You're effortlessly breaking ground, moving piles of rocks just by moving a lever, and enjoying the sun as you clear brush across your pasture. We could keep trying to put you in the moment, but to really understand what this feels like, you just have to get in the seat.
Stop by Pecos Valley Equipment in Artesia and Roswell, or visit us online at pecosvalleyequipment.com.
Your home is your sanctuary, and the land it's built on is even more precious. So when termites start devouring your house, you want a proven treatment that's environmentally responsible. You want the Centricon Termite Colony Elimination System. The Centricon system is the green way to protect homes from subterranean termites. Rather than surrounding your house with hundreds of gallons of diluted chemical solution, the Centricon system strategically uses just a few grams of active ingredient in termite bait, working with natural termite behavior to destroy termite colonies. With this technology, it's no wonder the Centricon system became the only termite treatment to receive the Presidential Green Chemistry Challenge Award from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. And homeowners rate the Centricon system as the most environmentally sound termite treatment. Your home is your sanctuary, so monitor, bait, and eliminate termites with the Centricon system. Think of it as your own little piece on Earth.
Call Bob Reed Pest Control today for all of Southeast New Mexico. 575-623-5344.
I've heard it said, speaking my mind is easy, speaking it tactfully, not so much. Hi, this is Pastor Troy and Julie Smotherman for The Joy of Marriage.
Proverbs 15:15 says, a gentle answer deflects anger, but harsh words make tempers flare. Sometimes my greatest accomplishment is keeping my mouth shut. There are times when we argue that it would be easy to lash out. So I have a choice to make. I can either feed the fire or quench it with my words.
Julie and I have learned there's going to be arguments, but we've learned to fight and argue, not to be right, but to get the situation right.
So the next time you're in an argument, try saying something kind from a genuine heart to bring peace in your marriage.
If you have any questions or would like further information about the Joy of Marriage Ministry, please go to jomconference.com.
The average American spends 2.5 days a year looking for lost items. We aren't sure how long Europeans and Asians look for lost stuff. We lost the list. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 20 minutes after 9 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning from the Valley Cafe, of course, Chef Anthony Noble back with us. Morning, Chef. How you doing today?
Doing great. How you doing?
Doing excellent. And Pastor Troy Smotherman with Church on the Move, which for folks, I think you probably know if you've been to Valley Cafe, it's part of it's its own business, but it's there on the church property, and it's part of the church family here, so to speak.
Exactly.
So Pastor Troy, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning,
today?
Mike. I'm doing great. Good morning to everybody listening.
How's life at the Church on the Move this morning?
It is good. Life is good.
Before we talk funny, yummy stuff, let's talk a little church stuff. How's anything coming up we want to put on people's radar with Church on the Move?
We always have something coming up. I know in October we have our Inspire Women's Conference coming up, that we have two great guests coming in, speakers, and it's going to be a great day for our women to celebrate God and their relationship with God and each other. And, and so that's coming up in October.
And I love that you're doing that, because, for people that not familiar, in Church on the Move over there, you have your marriage conferences, your men's conferences. So I think this is great. We're saying, now the women want to have their own place to grow and get better here. And that's a cool thing.
Yeah, and they've been doing it for some time, but This year we made a little change this year, and so, but it's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic.
Well, let's be honest. Of the two genders, men are more the ones that need a little bit of guidance. We're the ones that are going to say, "Hold my beer" and do the dumb thing, than women. I'm just stating facts.
Well, I haven't done the hold the beer thing since I was about 20, but
that's it.
I have
women
done some dumb things.
Women are like, no, I've never done that, and guys are like, no, I haven't done that in 20 years.
Yeah. Well, God He didn't make men to help women. He made women to help men. So that tells you who needed the help.
Well, you ain't lying. We need a lot of it. But it is great. That being said, to say, no, women, if we've got a great thing. If you want to come and grow and take what you're coming out of this meeting back to your relationships, your marriages, your families, this is exactly what it's for. So
exactly.
It's great to see that and have that opportunity. So please, if you want to learn more about this, come out Sunday to Church on the Move, and then come hungry and then go have a meal after.
At Valley Cafe.
That's right.
Yeah. And we also, of course, our regular services every week, but we're doing a number of things this month because of our Men's Forge Conference. We do a big raffle, and all that raffle money goes to local charities. And
Excellent.
So, other than we're going to sow some into the Mighty Oaks Foundation, which is a organization that totally for free, flight, room, housing, takes in veterans and first responders and helps them overcome PTSD. They're an outstanding organization. Chad Robichaud is their
and it sounds like it's awesome
president.
Because they do all of the logistic stuff that generally is the hurdle between getting these people the treatment and the help they need.
And they pay for all of it. It's all totally free to the first responder or to the military individual, but all the rest of it will be to local organizations, the Roswell Refuge and several others that we give to on a regular basis here from that. And I think we raised $33,000 profit this year, and so we split it between Legacy Church and Church on the Move.
Chad's an awesome dude. I got a chance and the opportunity to interview him over 4th of July time period
that's right.
when he was in town.
That's right.
Yeah, he's a real stand-up guy. He's a veteran himself, seen some stuff, and taking his own experiences and using it to help others. And that's an amazing thing when any human being does something.
I need to get you a copy of his books. I think you thoroughly enjoy reading his books. He's a Force Recon Marine, and then he worked with he did 8 tours in Afghanistan behind the lines, setting up SEAL Team 6. They were hunting the top 20. He was the lead on that, hunting the top 20. And he was the lead guy, and he had he did a lot of things. Chad's seen a lot of actions and
that's impacted him mentally, emotionally over the year. How he thinks and lives as a man. Probably many of the stuff he saw and done in his service impacts those thoughts and opinions. And this is the thing about military. You can go, you can take that down a dark path, and it's human beings. And for anyone who's probably seen the worst in the humanity and the best in humanity all at the same time. And for him to be able to not only overcome that, but use that as a tool to help others deal with those types of things, that to me is, that's the most godly thing I think you could do, is sacrificing yourself for the greater good of people.
Well, he had PTSD pretty badly and was going to take his life, and his Christian wife really saved him from that. And it's a great story. And it's because of Jesus. He's totally free. He doesn't have that. He doesn't battle that PTSD anymore, but it was really heavy on him, and that he helps others through Christ overcome that. It's an amazing organization.
Sorry, I get excited, but this is why I have so much stock in faith-based recovery programs, because it's the same animal here. They can get you off the substance or get you off of whatever, but it's the Band-Aid effect. Because at the end of the day, all the stuff you're doing is Band-Aid effect. It's because of the stuff Chad was dealing with, the things he dealt with and experienced in life. I don't know if he was dealing with alcohol and drugs and stuff, but it's the same id, where all that comes from. And that's why people that generally go through faith-based recovery programs have much successful rates, because you're actually treating the problem. You're fixing the hole in your heart, and you fill it with God, and it works. When you get off the other program, you're filling the hole with whatever vice you have, and they say, all right, you're clean, you don't got the twitches or the shakes or the withdrawals, good luck to you. And guess what? They fill that hole back up with. And instead of something substantial, it's back to the drugs or the alcohol or whatever, or a new vice they just found altogether.
Exactly.
And that's what it's dealing with.
And Chad was on all the metal meds. He was on all the stuff you could possibly be on that the military had to offer. And it led him to sitting in his closet with a gun to his head, and so.
And I can tell you this, I was in the military in the 90s. I'm sure he's covered some of that stuff. Yes, the veterans and PTSD and all that is much more on the forefront and realized now.
Sure is.
But if you talk to veterans 20, 30, certainly even older than that, there was not the resources, nor that they were basically told to suck it up, Buttercup. And that's why you have a lot of the things you have, and especially when you talk to Vietnam era vets, where they came home and basically were called baby killers and insert the treatment here. And then they'd go through that, and they probably start believing this stuff. Maybe I am a complete bag of crap, and they go, and that's why this is so much. We got so much progress to make, but I will tell you now, it is way better in 2024 for that than it was in say 1974 or 1984.
Yeah, and I know we didn't come to talk about that, but obviously that's God's intention.
I trust we're going to talk about burgers. That's
but it's God's intention to mention this. The stat says 22 of our veterans kill themselves every day, but I've learned through Chad that's not accurate, because they don't count on people jumping off bridges or car wrecks or drinking themselves to death or drug overdoses. They aren't counting a lot of the deaths that come from
They were just deaths that were
suicide by other means, killed themselves by other means. And
it was unintentional suicide. They just were doing so many dumb things that they killed themselves from. There was an overdose or whatever, but it's all related to PTSD and
exactly.
And all that stuff.
And their families suffer. Chad's family suffered tremendously, his wife and kids, but he's overcome it.
To get where he's at,
living
he
great,
the bottom.
and he's doing some great things for veterans.
And that's awesome. But it's so great to do that, and I love that you guys are supporting that and being that opportunity. And please, if you're listening and you haven't, don't hesitate to come by Church on the Move and talk to somebody. They'll put you in touch with.
Absolutely, with the Mighty Oaks Foundation.
We can do that thing here. Maybe do it over a burger, or a soup or something here.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna talk fun, good stuff now. Because Chef, he's like, I just make burgers. I make food. I make sandwiches. I don't want sad stuff. I want happy stuff. So now, how long have you been officially open now? 3, 4? How many
coming
years?
Up on 3 years.
3 years
December.
now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 2.5.
2.5.
About 2.5, a little over 2.5 years.
And I will tell you this. Of course, we've had the chef on multiple times here on the show. I don't care what you get at the Valley Cafe. It's amazing. It just is good. I mean, you're a classically trained chef. You've got your schooling and all that stuff, and now you're taking it and you're taking the food you love and putting your twist on it. That's kind of what the Valley Cafe is, right?
Yes,
Pretty much in a nutshell.
Absolutely, yeah. I actually didn't go to school to be a chef. I worked at Cattle Barn for.
Oh, that's right. You got School of Fire. I'm sorry.
So I learned everything there.
Hard knocks.
They let me be real creative with features and stuff, and that's how I came up with a lot of the recipes and stuff like that.
And you don't have to go to school to be a chef. I've learned through Anthony the difference between a chef and a cook. A cook cooks good food, the same food consistently. A chef is creative. They're more of an artist, and all the recipes, all the soups, all the stuff that Anthony makes, the pastas, all the sauces are his original stuff, and so he's so creative. He's definitely earned the title of chef.
And what I like about it, and what you do is you offer sophisticated food in a simple way for people, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like people want. You grow up in a thing. I grew up eating burgers and fries. I don't know fancy, tartar this or whatever that.
I don't either.
And most of us don't think that way. Yeah. But we all want a little bit of that, and I think that's where you come in. You're like, hell yeah, I'm going to give you a burger, but this ain't your average burger. This burger's got gourmet ingredients. It's got love, but it's, what I mean? You're combining flavors. You're like saying, I know this don't sound like it works, but you try it together, and this is amazing. And that's what you're doing. You're like, yeah, I'll put some sweet on your savory, and let's see what's going on here. That's what you're doing, and you're presenting food that everybody knows and recognizes it, but in a slightly upscale way. But at the same time, not. Oh, good. Now I could pay $50 for a burger. No. That's not what we're doing either. So you know what I'm saying? It's like you offer that, but then at the same time, you're not selling people a $40 hamburger either, too. So that's what I love about the Valley Cafes. And now you've kind of shifted, as you've been open 3 years, the menu has evolved over the years. There's probably some things that maybe you knew about the beginning that aren't there now, or things that weren't there and now are part of the menu. So, absolutely. And you've also shifted your hours and kind of stuff. So there's been some changes over here. So we should talk some of that if folks haven't been to the Valley Cafe in a minute. Yeah. Talk about some of the new that's going on at the Valley Cafe.
So we started with breakfast and lunch.
Yes.
And we just weren't pulling enough people in for breakfast, so we decided to go lunch and dinner. So
although y'all slept on that breakfast, them burritos are one of the best in town.
People like breakfast, they did, but we just weren't getting enough, which is
sure
okay.
You don't want, I'll eat a breakfast burrito for in the afternoon. Don't tell me I won't. I'll do it.
Well, he'll still make it for you.
Yeah,
he'll still make it, but you just can't get it 7 in the morning.
Yeah. But yeah, lunches, and once we moved to lunch dinner, it completely changed. We doubled in sales, and we did evolve the menu. We added a bunch of new things. We took breakfast off, of course, but we added new burgers and wraps and salads and stuff like that.
Yes,
but the number one thing we added, which was steak fingers and chicken fingers.
Yeah, the chicken strips and steak fingers. That was kind of what we really wanted to do, so we had to get another fryer and all kinds of stuff like that.
But what I love about it, because let's face it, especially chicken fingers, everybody does those.
Yeah.
But you haven't had Anthony's chicken fingers.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to tell you.
We hand cut everything.
Yeah.
We bread it ourselves. We make our own dredge and all that stuff, so it makes it a lot different from getting frozen stuff.
And
stuff
steak
like
fingers is the one that everyone loves, but you can't always get. Some places have it, some don't. So, but they're always usually very good.
Yeah.
And so,
and what kind of meat do you use for those, Anthony?
I'd be curious to see what your steak fingers are like.
For the steak fingers, we use the eye of the round, and it's an Angus cut. So we hand cut them ourselves.
So slightly higher quality. Because let's face it, generally when you go steak fingers, you're not putting the good cuts of meat on that. That's and that's by design. By the way, folks, believe it or not, brisket used to be the worst part of the cow. There's a reason why it's the toughest, it's the hardest to work with. But then they realized, if you barbecue this stuff, it's delightful. Now it's not cheap anymore. But generally, they use the lesser cuts, the lesser quality cuts.
Right.
And for folks that know I worked in a meat room I did butcher, baker, candle. I did a little bit of everything when I was a teenager. So I worked in a meat room for a couple of years, and you don't realize the meats. Generally, more fat is better for you in terms of the more fat in the meat, the higher the quality of the meat. Now, I'm not talking about the one where they didn't trim it and that fat's just all over.
The marbling.
That marbling of the meat. You look at a prime piece of beef versus a choice piece of beef, most people are going to look at the choice and be like, that looks better to me because it's all meat. Where the prime one's got the marbling fat, and you're like, I don't know, that looks like I'm going to be short. But when you cook that bad boy, that's where the magic happens.
Well, and he does a great job, but I think the key ingredient to the steak fingers and the chicken fingers is the green chili gravy.
Is it like a cream gravy? Because generally people go cream with chicken and steak fingers.
The cream's actually gotten less popular since they tried the green chili sauce.
Okay. Well, I didn't know if it was like a cream chili.
Well, it is a cream. It is a cream.
That's what I meant.
Yeah,
it's a white.
It's a cream base.
Gotcha.
And it's not like normal green chili sauces. People use water instead of a cream base.
Okay.
And I add a couple more ingredients that most people don't do.
So it's going to be a little richer than probably what you're expecting.
Outstanding. Do you add that to those chicken fingers?
Same way. The cordon bleu soup that you offered when you first opened, that's what I loved it because it was so rich. I mean, I ain't going to lie. I'm hurting after eating a bowl because it's so rich, but it's so good. And you're like, man, I've never had, because you think of soup as the leftover thing, right? And ideally, that's why we have soup is because people say, well, we ain't got enough of everything. Just throw it all in a pot, add some water, and we'll call it soup. And that's how people get fed. But you turn soup into another level. It's not like, hey, how do we feed a bunch of people cheaply? It's, hey, how can I provide you an enhanced experience with something that we normally just put a bunch of stuff in to feed everybody quickly and easily. And so your soups are and I've had not just my cordon bleu is the favorite, but I've had all of the different ones you've offered throughout the couple of years here, and I like them all. So
it's funny too because it could be 112 outside and we're selling gallons of soup. So
soup's one of those.
Well, because it's not like you said, Mike. It's not like a normal soup.
Yeah,
it's got so much more ingredients. It's so.
Like everything is cream based. It's got a velvetiness.
It does.
That's the term. That's
a good word.
I get to describe as
that's a good word
to it. And it's emotional evoking type food. Everyone, we all emotionally connect ourselves to food. One food, all of us do. Remember that cake mom made or whatever.
Oh yeah.
We do that, and I think Chef kind of creates just a bunch of that in his restaurant, whether it's a burger, whether it's a pasta dish, whether it's a soup, whether it's a salad, whether it's a snack. All of it's kind of got that homemade mama thing and kind of, you know what I mean? That this is real food. And that's the other thing. In the world we live in, everything else like, this is what actual chicken looks like. This is what actual, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and and these hamburger patties, they're all Angus.
Yeah, Angus chuck.
Oh yeah, it's not
and
the
they're
cheap
thick,
meats.
and they're made to order. They're cooked to order, and so we just want to really encourage people to come out for dinner.
Yeah,
come try dinner.
Our lunches have been great, and we still have room for more people for lunch. But man, we open from 11 to 8. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Absolutely.
Wednesday we cut a little short because we have church service. And I wanted to say this: Valley Cafe is just not connected to Church on the Move. It is a part of Church on the Move, and there's a reason it's a part of it.
Technically, it's a building across the street, so it's not physically connected, but emotionally and spiritually connected.
Well, it's our youth building that we put a full kitchen in, and so Valley uses it during the day, and our youth use it most of the time at night. And so
it is actually on the property there.
Yeah, it's on our property.
It's just not attached to the main chapel, I guess you could say.
And so exactly, and so but we it's connected in the sense, and we started this, and I recruited Anthony. From his job, he'd been out for 16 years and a very valued member of that team, and they were great to him too.
So, and I imagine anytime you do a food event, Chef Anthony's involved in some way.
Most of the time, yeah. If he has time to do it, of course we always use him. But what the connection is that for 15 years we've dreamed of having a dream center, and one of our doctors that works at our hospital donated the dream center. Doesn't attend our church, but donated. Dr. Moran donated the building to Church on the Move, and we I want to fund it. The ministry that's going to take place there at the old Leisure Inn, which is we're taking in.
Of course, that facility came in very handy during these Ruidoso fires.
Oh my gosh, we filled it full multiple times.
It turned into one of the evacuation spots, especially those first few days and weeks of the fires,
and they loved it because they had it's a 400 square foot hotel room with its own bathroom and shower and everything. So they really enjoyed being in there.
Amenities to do something.
Yes, and of course Anthony cooked most of the breakfast. We had to shut down Valley Cafe to cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner for.
Evacuees we had better than I was.
We had they ain't well. We had 197 evacuees. Between 100 and something of them were staying on the church inside the foyer, not inside the foyer, inside the church sanctuary, sleeping on the floor. Is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And then at the Dream Center, in which the city gave us a temporary occupancy so that we could house just an emergency. Yeah. And so they gave us an emergency. But what I was going to say about that is the profit after we pay Anthony and our food costs and all the overhead, which doesn't include a salary for anybody else on the church staff except those working at the Valley, and we have a lot of volunteers there too that work for free.
Oh, nice!
A lot of them.
Well, they work
the
for
profit
food, probably.
for that.
They probably he throws them a burger.
He hooks them up. But the profit goes to the Dream Center to help us fund the restructuring of those buildings because it's taken a lot to. We have to totally redo the electricity, totally redo, add water, add a fire. Water system.
So not only are you supporting the Valley Cafe by coming and having a soup or burger or a dinner or something like that, you're also supporting and continuing the work that you guys do through the Dream Center.
Exactly,
as well, too.
Dream Center, New Mexico. That's exactly the whole point of it. That's why we Anthony and I agreed to partner and do this, and so
I, of course, I'm just here for the cheeseburger. It's great that we can help out, but that's what I love about that. Great, now we gotta, so you're gonna come in and let's face it. You're going to get probably some of the best food you're going to have in Roswell right at the Valley Cafe. I mean, we have some great cooks and great restaurants here.
We do.
But if you've never been to Valley Cafe, you're sleeping on one of the best things in town. And whether you come for dinner. Now that we got dinner hours, definitely. But if your first time's for lunch, come on down. Come today. Come in lunch. They'll be open up here in a couple hours. Come on down and have a burger or try a soup or try a salad. Or, I get it. If you want to eat healthy, he got you covered. Mm-hmm. But if you're like, no, I'm here to grub. He's got you covered.
Yeah, and two, Anthony does a special every week. What's your special this week? Anthony?
This week we're doing a gnocchi gorgonzola
wow.
pasta. So it's the gnocchi potato pasta, and then I made a gorgonzola cheese sauce, and it gets grilled chicken and some garlic bread with it.
Gnocchi's kind of getting popular. Like people are learning about gnocchi. Like gnocchi's been around for years. If you're Italian, you probably grew up on it, but now it's kind of getting where non-Italians and folks are like, oh, you heard about this gnocchi thing? Yeah. Pretty good out there. So you're probably seeing more and more people familiar and wanting to try. Maybe they've never had gnocchi, and so they're going to come here for the first time.
He made me try it.
Yeah. I've had it. Well, my mom, I
liked it.
My brother married a full-blood Italian.
And so you got the benefits.
So Christmas Eve at their house is a feast.
Wow.
They do the whole, because Italians do like the 7-course, 7 seas seafood thing, and so you're eating scallops and lobster and crab all night.
That sounds good.
They'll throw some gnocchi in, just, I don't know why at that point. I'm like, well, why bother? There's 80,000 things here. But anyway, that's what they do.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah. So come try gnocchi. If you haven't had it the first time, come to the Valley Cafe and try. If you're Italian pasta, it's going to be right in your wheelhouse. And trust me, don't be grabbing that bag of gnocchi at the grocery store and thinking you're getting, you know what I mean? Like get legit homemade. If you're going to try for the first time, do it right. Don't get the processed garbage you buy at the grocery. Get homemade gnocchi that someone sweated in a kitchen, because it's not easy to make either, if I'm right. I've seen my sister-in-law making it. It's labor intensive to make gnocchi. It's not just something you whip out for the kids here an hour.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's pretty.
And then
labor intensive.
the cheese sauce, the gorgonzola. A lot of people are skeptical about it, but they tried it
It's
and they're
cheese.
like, I like this. This is good.
I liked it. I did. I was skeptical, and he made me taste
Well,
some.
good. I'm glad he put you out of your
He
comfort
put some
zone.
in a little cup and made me taste it.
And that's what I love too. Is come if you want to go out of your comfort zone with food, make the Valley Cafe do it. Because like if you want to experiment, he's not going to steer you wrong. Because again, you've been literally doing this. This is what you do. This is your passion. This is your love. I'm sure he goes to bed at night thinking of ways to combine different ingredients together to create some next concoction.
He does, Mike.
Yeah.
He really loves what he does. He and his wife, Felicia, they love what they do.
Were you a science guy growing up? Did you love doing science things?
Not really.
Because really, that's what cooking is. Cooking is science.
Yeah.
It's chemistry.
Math and science.
Math and chemistry. You the right amount of this, turns into the most magical thing or the most god awful thing you ever smelled and tasted. So it's a fine line.
He's good at math. Anthony's very good at that, and he's just creative. I think there's a creative side. There's an artist side to being a chef and creating your own sauces, your own elements, your own.
Absolutely.
And that's the side I love about Anthony. He's not just cooking, but he's creating.
That's the true art
all
of
his
cooking.
soups are original recipes. All the stuff it's amazing.
Yeah, everything's handmade. Everything's homemade. It's stuff that all the ingredients. There's nothing. It's just good, clean food. Things that but presented in a way that's a little more upscale or a little more different than you're used to, and embrace that change. And by the way, you can go, like, if you just want a plain old burger, they got you covered.
Oh, gosh. That Angus burger's incredible.
I mean, if you just want a burger that you think is a burger with your mayo or your ketchup or whatever your mustard, whatever your vice is, or thing is, you can do that. But I'm saying, hey, try the Smotherman burger. Try one of these other burgers. One that's got some avocado or maybe some sauces that you never thought would be on a burger before. Yeah. Come try those. And I guarantee you're like, I wouldn't have thought of it, but this is my new favorite burger. And then you eat the next one. I wouldn't have thought of it, but this is my new favorite burger.
Yeah, he adds different ingredients to those things that make them special.
You want to go? That's one of your more popular.
Tell them about the jam witch.
That's one of your more popular things that people.
It wasn't even originally on the menu, and then my wife made the
by
jam.
demand.
So it's my wife's recipe, actually.
Ooh.
And she made the jam, and I think we featured it, and it got so popular, people kept asking for it, so we just went ahead and put it on the menu.
And now it's part of the staple.
Jalapeno jam. I got a bottle of that in my fridge at all times.
Yeah, if you love the sweet heat mixture and
on toast, on anything.
And we sell it by the
good.
jar, too, because we jar it. So if you ever want to just come get a jar, we have them ready to go.
It's that good.
Now you're talking my language.
Yeah, it's that good. We keep some at our house all the time.
Might have to work a deal with some of our local grocers. Maybe you can
we've talked about that
get those put up on the shelves there with the salsas and how they do that with local salsa and stuff.
The barbecue sauce
get
that I make
jam.
too it could easily hit shelves, I think.
Yeah, and those are some of the things Anthony and I are going to do in the future.
Yeah,
just some of those kind of things.
Excellent. And again,
we got some other thoughts coming. We don't know when, but it's coming.
That's great. But again, this all goes back to helping more people.
Yeah, helping the Dream Center.
Because this is you and your family's business. This is your day job. This is you're here to make a living. You're here to pursue your dreams as a chef here. But at the same time, all of this is able for you to do that. But at the same time, every time you go and have a burger or have a sandwich or have a salad or have a meal there, you're helping people in our community to do the next thing. And that's just a little added bonus to you just coming and eating an awesome, delicious meal.
Yeah, because it's a ministry, too. It's not just a restaurant.
That's right.
If we can get people saved, too, just by feeding them food, being nice hospitality and stuff like that, that'd be great.
And that's something, too. I imagine all the time you just have folks that come in, maybe they're down on their luck, and like you're not feeding them your most fancy foods. You're just like, hey, can I get you a sandwich?
Yeah.
Can I get you
and we've
something
prayed
to
with
eat?
people before too.
Absolutely.
And, they keep coming back.
Maybe
so
not the
good.
Wagyu beef stuff, but we'll get you nice a good healthy meal. It's good. Not our expensive meats, but we'll get you something here. Absolutely. And that's the beauty of it. And by the way, and this is guys like me saved. You are on DoorDash. So
and Uber too.
because I get it, you guys are on the south end of town, and at 6 o'clock at night, you're way down by here, and you're like, I'm not driving all the way down here to go get a sandwich.
All the way down there is about 5-10 minutes.
I know,
anyway,
but in our
especially from your house, Mike. We've gotten so.
I speak for every lazy man, and we're out there. And so for guys and gals that are like that, you're like, I'm already over by Walmart. I'm not going down. DoorDash will be your friend.
DoorDash.
And you can have all of Anthony's amazing creations, and you don't have to drive all the way to the south end to get it.
Yeah. DoorDash is huge, too. A lot of people use it.
You do get a lot through there.
Yeah, and a lot of the same people, because it has their names, and we get people 5 days a week.
You've seen my name on there 5 times.
Yeah, we have people 5 days a week.
It could be under my wife. She's the purveyor of the DoorDash. It's all on her apps and everything. I pay for it, but we pay for it. But you know what I mean. It comes out of my account. But she's the one that orders, so it's probably under my wife's name.
Too. But I don't DoorDash much. I like to get it right off our French fries. I'm gonna tell you something. Our French fries are phenomenal.
I do enjoy.
I really enjoy the French fries.
I was about to say a lot of times I'll eat fries and I never finish them because once they get a little colder, they get a little, like I'm good. Anthony's fries, they're not usually 1 or 2 left on the plate anymore.
Yeah.
They're pretty much.
It's a Lamb Weston brand that we found.
Okay.
We were using shoestring, the smaller ones, because they're supposed to stay crispier longer, but they just don't.
They didn't hold
the
up.
ones that we get now, they're coated with something. Like just cornstarch or something.
Okay, so
like
it keeps that crispiness.
It keeps it crisp
from the first to the last.
I don't know what it is. I don't care what it is. They're delicious, man. I eat them anyway, and I try to leave something on my plate every time. And that's, I kind of try to eat the 80%.
Because you want to act like you're evolved. I get it. I do the same thing.
I just try to I eat 80%, leave 20%. Just try to do something smart, especially when you're eating French fries and burgers. But I can't. Not on the French fries. I'll eat more of the burger than the French fries.
I try that move too, but 90% of the time I fail. I'm like,
it's usually just
because I do the pick.
Napkin and the fork on the plate, and that's it.
I'm full, and then you're still going.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. Yeah, you're still picking at those fries. They're just good.
Exactly.
But you know what?
And don't sleep on desserts and stuff too. You got the sweet. You can satisfy everybody's sweet tooth as much as the meat tooth.
Oh my gosh, those desserts are
all made in house. Yeah.
All made in house.
Now, like you said, like your wife came up with it. Like, do you guys collaborate all the time, or is it pretty much you in the lab doing your thing?
No, she came up with a couple of things on the menu. The jamwich, the barbecue chicken salad was her idea. The enchilada was a good one for her too.
That's a great meal.
That one's kind of like a enchilada turned into a salad.
Okay.
The green sauce is the dressing.
So probably more carb friendly than an enchilada would be, but
a little bit,
deliciousness
because it has fried tortilla strips on it and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it's a salad, so you're like, all right, it's let's face it. I make an enchiladas or I make a burrito, it loses its healthiness usually at some point.
It does. But it's good though.
That's just it. It's good. And by the way, the portions are big. Yeah, you're going to order and you're going to finish it, or you're going to have leftovers and then you're going to finish it and be full. You're not going to worry about that. And I haven't had everything on your menu, but I've had at least, I got to say 50 to 60.
Wow.
I think over the course of time.
Mike, you're an adventurer, man.
I'm telling you, I'd say at least once every 2 weeks we're ordering from Valley Cafe in there.
Trying something different.
Just to say, hey, I'm going to get the.
Thank you for supporting us. We appreciate that.
Now I do have a couple go-tos. Like I usually, like if I'm kind of in a mood, I'm like, give me the green chili chicken Alfredo. That's kind of my. When I'm like, oh, do I want a burger? I'll just get the Alfredo.
Yeah, the Alfredo's.
So that's kind of my. If I can't find anything I'm in the mood for, then I usually fall back.
Well, it's hard to get great green chili Alfredo here, and so.
You think it'd be easy
it's really good
in New
chicken
Mexico,
Alfredo.
but it's not.
It's not. Not. And Anthony's sauce is so creamy on that it's one of my favorites.
Well, and I think that's what makes the soups good. I got a feeling the cream you're using in your Alfredo, the creams in your soups,
all the same cream,
and so it creates that same
texture.
You got to buy the right kind of cream too. You have to have a certain amount of fat content in it.
Sure.
So if you buy cheap cream, it's like 20% fat content. It's not going to be as creamy.
Well, that's when you taste like the watery or more Alfredos and stuff.
Or people use half and half instead of cream.
Not his. It's thick.
Yeah,
it's
40%. 40%.
Like as it
fat
cools,
content.
it turns into almost a solid because it's you know what I mean?
Does. It does.
Because it's so rich and creamy, and whereas that you notice some of them less than those, they still stay liquidy, but no, as it cools, the chemistry and science comes together, that it starts to thicken back up into food again.
Yeah, and our Alfredos are probably 80% of our caterings we do, because we do weddings and birthdays.
And Alfredo's something you can do in mass, which, by the way, that's another thing we do. Don't forget, if you've got an event, cater. We're about to be football season. I'm sure if you've got a few Sunday football parties you want to do after church, of course. That you're gonna
Thank you for throwing that in there.
We'll book it, and the way
Wait
we
till
do
the
our
Cowboys play.
That's how I know. That's how I know Cowboys aren't Christians. If they play at 10 or something, they don't show up for church.
Well, wait till they're
I'm joking.
Wait till they're 2 o'clock
Probably half
games.
my church are Cowboys.
I was say you're about to get yelled at your church.
Yeah, they're gonna boo me. They boo me sometimes.
But maybe the 2 o'clock game where church is done. You've done your church. You go home. Now you can do your thing here.
Cater, and we do on or off the menu on our caterings. We'll completely customize your menu for you if you want us to. So,
and by the way, like you said, because it's yourself and your wife, if you want to, I imagine that people walk in all the time and give chef here a few. Hey, have you ever tried this? Have you ever made this?
A lot of people do that. Some of the regulars will do that, and that's how some of our features came about. Was
I imagine that's
saying,
probably,
"Hey, y'all should try this," and we're like, "All right, let's do it."
So I gotta ask this before we let you go. What's like in the science lab now? Is there anything you're kind of percolating on? I mean, I know, get it. You're probably not ready to release to the public, but is there there's a thing I got on the back burner I'm working on?
There's some stuff I want to add to the menu. I don't want to get into that, but we do features every week. And next week we're doing a barbecue brisket, grilled cheese with jalapeno poppers in it.
Ooh, can't go wrong with that.
And grilled onions, so it's going to be really good.
Yeah, and that's just it. Keep checking back regularly because you do specials, you do things. Yes, you have your staples. Anytime you want to get a Smotherman burger, it's on the menu.
Yeah.
But if you're like, no, I'm going to try, look, this week they got this salad or they got this dish or they got this pasta thing or whatever it is, as you get in the lab there and you're like, when he comes out the lab and his face is poofed out and everything, that was not a keeper.
Yeah.
And he comes back. So come down today for lunch. You guys open at 11, right?
Yeah, 11 to 8.
11 to 8.
And we just want to personally invite everyone out for dinner and lunch.
And is that
everybody's welcome? You don't have to be a member of the church.
Is that 7 days or what?
It's a public restaurant.
Wednesdays you close a little early because of church.
We close at 2, so we're 11 to 2, just
11
lunch
to 2
on Wednesday.
On Wednesdays. But are you open 7 days other than that?
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. We're open 11 to 8.
I wanted to make sure he had a family life. A lot of times you run a restaurant, you don't have a family life. And so he does some things. He does caterings on Saturdays.
Yeah.
And he does some things for the church on Sundays. But I try to make sure that Anthony and his wife and children have a good life. Everybody in my ministry I'm responsible for. So I want to make sure that they have time to themselves.
And that's because let's face it, the food industry, and I ain't telling Shiv no something he don't already know, is it's long hours. It's hard.
It's hard work.
There's a show on Hulu that if you want to just get a remote idea of that life, it's called The Bear. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I watched a couple episodes, a couple seasons.
Every person that's in your industry I know said if you want something that looks remotely close to what our industry looks like, that has done probably the best. I don't know if you agree with that, but people that are in your industry that I've talked to have kind of said that show kind of gives you a best portrayal of what. And I'm not talking about working. I'm talking about working like at restaurants that you have service times and. I'm not talking about like a McDonald's or something, but where
it takes a lot of planning and it takes a lot of time to get it going. But we're past the first year, which is the hardest. We're already going into year 3. So
you're kind of in the part where you're now, exactly. And I'm sure obviously having Church on the Move as a partner kind of definitely helps to get through some of the first year struggles because quite frankly, you get to the point where you're like, do I have enough money to service? Do I have? And I'm sure the church has said, you know what, we're going to make you take care of that. Just put out good product. We'll do the rest here.
Yeah, we made an investment because we saw the potential. I saw this years ago. Anthony and I have talked about this for some time before we actually pulled the trigger, and I talked about it even years before I knew about Anthony. But we have a goal, and that's to fund ministry and to make sure that
at a time.
And because Anthony and I both share a common thing that we've had. Family members that have been incarcerated.
Gotcha.
And both of us share that, unfortunately. But, man, they're really working. And that, my family members have completely recovered and are out of that system. But we're still working with other family members, and I want them to have a safe place to come to, because our transitional housing is not for the homeless. It's for guys, and they have to have been in our program. We have a 2-year program in the prisons in New Mexico, and they have to have been in our program or a similar program, because we vet. Everybody we're bringing to our community, we vet them, because I care about my neighborhood. It's down the street from my house. The Dream Center is, and so I care about who we're bringing in there.
And we all want to help everybody, but at the end of the day, you can only help people that are willing to meet you halfway sometimes. That they're they're lead the horse to water lines. That is so true in life. You can literally give them everything they do, but if they're not willing to take the step to do it themselves, then all of it's moot. And so that's why you're talking about the vetting. Yes. It's like, if we're going to invest this kind of time and money, you got to put your hand out and let us grab it. And if you're not willing to do that, then we can't help you.
Yes, it's a partnership for sure, Mike. And a lot of people try to help people that don't want help.
Yeah.
We want to help people that have already proven that they want help, they want to grow,
and quite
they
frankly,
want to move forward.
The people that don't want help just haven't hit their bottom yet. And that's basically what happened.
Unfortunately for them, but we're going to help them.
Hopefully they hit their bottom without the possibility of not being able to come back from it, because that's what usually happens.
Yeah,
someone hits that bottom and they can't walk back from it because somebody's dead and somebody's involved in that. I'm getting back negative again, but again, this is getting all back to it. The Valley Cafe is so much more than delicious food. It is like
it's a ministry.
It's helping people. It's here, whether you relate to that or not. If you want to come try one of Chef Anthony's food because of that, awesome. But if you're looking, it's like, I don't care about that. I just want a delicious cheeseburger. Then come on in too.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll let some of that rub off on you. But I'm just telling you, the food, we don't need to do anything else other than tell you the food is good, and that's enough to get you in the
clean
door.
restaurant. Our restaurant's clean. Our bathrooms are clean. We take great pride in a good way in keeping our restaurant clean, our kitchen clean. And taking care of those things. I'm kind of a little bit of a clean freak like that. And so,
that's the success and failure side, right, Chef? I mean, that's the business that don't fail. They're not taking care of those kind of things. Exactly. That's their downfall. So,
and Anthony's the same way. He keeps his back kitchen clean, and we've passed our inspections with flying colors, and we keep our bathrooms clean, and we keep our restaurant clean, and we have great staff. Like I said, we have most of the people that wait on you are volunteers, but they come in to volunteer because they believe in what we're doing with the Dream Center. Absolutely. You can also go on our website, Church of the website, and find the Dream Center if you want to make a donation.
Okay.
It's costing us about $5,000 a room to renovate a room in our first planning stage, which is building A.
That's a lot of cheeseburgers.
Yeah, it's a lot. So it's fine. And our first 34 rooms are the ones we're going to open. Then we still have another 100, another 70 plus rooms that we have to renovate later. And those rooms have not had any renovation.
Okay.
So they're about 10,000. So
they're going to be more expensive.
Yes. That's the building behind the first building.
Okay.
But anyway, we have a lot of work to do. We've already invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into the facility, and we still have about $400,000 or $500,000 we need to raise to finish the electrical and to put the water.
So go to the website, make a monetary donation, or do that. But then all of us just go have one meal a day at the Valley Cafe. Every Roswellian, come up, pick lunch, pick dinner.
That's a great invitation.
Yeah, I don't care which one.
Come on,
pick lunch, dinner. You're going to get awesome food. And then, by the way, after your meal, a little bit of that's going back to help out here. And we get everybody doing that every day. Of course, Chef Anthony's like, man, I got to take a day off. You know what I mean? I got to, but that's what I'm saying. Literally, this is how you fix things. Quit waiting for someone else to do it. Get involved in it. Roll up your sleeves and do it.
Right.
Whether it's coming and having a meal at the Valley Cafe or something, start there and do it, because this is how we fix things. It's not waiting for a government to have a meeting about something. It's about people just stepping up and saying, you know what, these people need food, let's get them food. These people need a place to live, let's find them a place to live. The rest will work itself out.
Exactly. We have 25 rooms dedicated to veterans that we're going to bring in veterans that want to get on their feet and move forward. And then we're going to have some apartments that we built out of those rooms that will be dedicated to single moms and their children. So, man, we have a lot of ministry to do in that facility. There's a lot of different pieces to it because we have so much space. We have 100 and something rooms, and so 87,000 square feet that we're having to renovate. So, anyway, we can use your help.
Absolutely.
And, but at the same time, we're Church on the Move, Mike. You know us. We're not going to just sit back and wait for everybody else. We're going to try to lead that and do the best we can.
But
and
if you want a great
we're going to help
community,
people. We're going to love on people in Jesus' name.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. That's the message. You want a great community? We have one. You want to keep it great? you got to get involved. You got to be the active ingredient to making it and making it great.
That's right.
How it is.
We all have to
and
be.
That's what you guys do. That's what Chef's doing every day, and doing it in the way he knows how. You know, he's like, hey, I can't build your building stuff, but I can make you a meal, and if that's how we can help each other, then that's how we're going to help each other. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what this is all about. So come today. Come have lunch. Don't have to get all serious. Just come have a meal and eat, and enjoy your life.
Yeah, enjoy the food.
And then know that every time you're doing it, you're helping people get to their next thing. Everybody doing that.
The last thing I want to say, Mike, is on Friday nights, we have music coming in, and our first one is
August 30th. We're going to start live music from 6 to 8, and it's with a local artist
so
named
come
Marie
have
Manning.
a meal, enjoy.
Yeah. We're going to pay these local artists some, and they're going to come in. And
you said Marie Manning's going to be the first one here?
The first one on August 30th, and then we're going to do it every Friday after that. So we decided, right? Yeah,
and Marie's
for a couple months.
I've seen her sing and perform multiple times.
Yeah, she does a great job.
She's a talented musician. She can sing. Yeah. She can.
She's actually going to book them for us. She's going to help us. She's a Christian. She wants to help too, and she believes in what we're doing.
Absolutely.
They'll take tips. We pay them a small fee, but they'll take tips for singing, and they'll do that.
She's a very community-minded person. She's involved in a lot of nonprofit. I don't know how many times, as a guy on radio, I see people that work in the community.
Sure.
And Marie's one of those people. I'll tell you that right.
Yeah, I think we think it's going to be a good partnership. Yeah. We're going to do it for several months and see if it pulls in more people on Friday night to come. And of course, it's always going to be Christian appropriate music.
Absolutely. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, everything's family friendly.
Yeah, everything's Christian appropriate.
You can bring your whole family in here, come in, have a meal, and enjoy the music, and then go home at 8 there, or go off to your next thing for the night.
Sure.
But come out today. Come out for lunch, come out for dinner. They're open 11 to 8 here now. So if you want to come and you're thinking, man, I always get off work and they're already closed. No, not now. They're open till 8.
Yeah.
So you can come and get the meal. They're available on DoorDash. So if you want the convenience of that, otherwise just come on down to Brasher there and come up. What's the actual address there on Brasher?
It's 801 West Brasher.
801 West Brasher.
Orange building right across the street from Church on
Big orange building. Can't
miss it.
And we're also on Grubhub and Uber Eats too.
Okay, so if you do those,
those ones are not as popular, but people still use them.
Good. I just don't have those, so it's just not. Not that I have anything against them. It's just, to be honest, like I said, my wife downloads these. I literally just use it. Yeah, I'm good at that. Here you go.
I don't even push it in. I tell her what I want. She pushes it.
Well,
I'll mess it up.
Once in a while, I'm a little picky. I'm like, well, I don't want the tomatoes on this. I don't want. So I got to go in and do my.
We're not worried about any of that.
But thank you guys, and
thank you for having us.
I'm sure you got some meals to get ready for here as you open up in a little bit.
He does. Yeah.
Come on, and then of course come on out Sunday. Come out to church.
We'd
on
love
Sunday.
to have you. If you don't have a church home,
come and just see what Church on the Move's all about. Come see and meet the family and see if this is your new church home.
Well, we try to all be about Jesus. He's the reason that Anthony and our lives have changed. We weren't living good lives before we met Jesus, but now we are, and we're part of the solution instead of part of the problem, and
that's the
it's all about Jesus.
We all live
lives,
love
and Jesus.
We all struggle. We all hit those moments. We all have those. Every person on this planet has hit that moment where you're like, "What am I doing here?
Mm-hmm.
What's going on here?"
Yes.
And we all get that, and that's the beauty of it. We all have those things, and that's not what defines you. Not where you came from, or it's what you do with it. That's what defines you, and that's what you guys are doing, and that's what God wants you to do. So. Sorry,
thank you, Mike.
We're about to get into.
I know you got to go.
We're in Clay and Buck time, and that's when they get mad. You talking about you're getting your people mad? I cut into Clay and Buck, and
I don't want to do that. I don't want to make anybody mad.
But
thank you for your time.
Come have a meal at Valley Cafe. Come hear what Church on the Move's got going on this Sunday, and come see what it's like to be a part of the Church on the Move family here. So. And come hungry, trust me.
Yeah.
And thank you for the soup. He left me some soup.
Yeah, I'll bring it to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
People are like, can I have some? No.
I bought 3 bowls.
Oh, good. Okay. Maybe they could share.
You took care of them.
I'm like, I'm a giving man, but don't mess with my food. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate
All right, that's going to do it for us. Clay Buck about to start here in just a few seconds. You're listening to 106.5 Roswell Talk FM.